Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers Station. Pop, pop, boom. What is up, everybody? This is it's the time of the month, at the end of the month, where we gather an esteemed panel of comic book enthusiasts here to discuss the best comics of the month. Of course, today we're talking about June 2023, and we got a gaggle of geeks with us tonight, led by the one, the only, the log maker himself. It's Island Boy Mandel.
Station, my friend. Dude, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped to talk about like a handful of books this month. It's been pretty.
Yes,
it's been
okay. Yeah. Are you trying to say it wasn't the greatest month? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say that I have a show where I have 3 picks that I want to talk about every week, and I've been struggling to fill 3 slots. I'm going to tell you from Marvel, DC, and Indies. So
okay,
I'm struggling.
All right. Also, we got the one, the only, from comic culture himself. It's Nick. What is up, my dude?
What's going on, man? I was really worried about the transition. What kind of lead-in you were going to lead with there? Like, man, he ended with filling in slots, and I'm like, oh god, this could go really, really bad. But I'm glad we didn't go there. What's going on, guys? Glad to be here.
Fortunately, we got the bad news that Brian had to drop like right as I was trying to introduce you, so it kind of messed up my whole like vibe.
Oh, Brian.
So that sucks, man. We were really excited.
worries.
We finally debuted Brian's new log that Manny made, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all the Kint books are up for grabs, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so, man. He was really excited. Yes. He was really excited. So maybe he'll be able to pop back in. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, the OUG herself. It is Carrie Quinn. What is up, Carrie?
Hi, guys. It's good to be back.
Hey.
It's good to have you back. You weren't here last month.
I wasn't. I was gaming.
Ooh.
Oh, I see where your priorities are now, Carrie. Okay. All right.
We probably get to do it like once a month, and it just happened to be like that weekend, that night.
Okay. Well, it's okay because we did it on Friday the last time because it was Jelani's birthday. So,
and I probably would have wanted to switch for that guy's birthday too. He seems super cool. So
yeah, he's all right. I wouldn't get too hype on it. All right, so we're going to be talking about the best comics of the month of June 2023, and there may be some slight spoilage in some of these books when we talk about them, but we're not going to like just blatantly tell you everything that happened in every book. But do be aware when we're talking about a book, we're not really super fearful of spoiling things. And if anybody missed last month's show, when Carrie couldn't make it, we had to get Joe Corallo, Jolly Joe Corallo. Come on. And if anybody, I need to clip it out because if anybody missed his reaction to Amazing Spider-Man 26, you missed gold.
We got to show this. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to try to clip that out because it is the funniest thing. And it's also very honest. All right. Yeah. I'm going to be selfish tonight and I'm going to go with the first pick with my pick of the month because I don't want anybody to pick this because I got a list of some solid books this month, but man, this wasn't the strongest month for comics in 2023. Okay. I'm just going to get that out of the way. A lot of these weeks I was like, I guess my pick of the week is Void Rivals because they kept the secret. There was sometimes when my criteria for why I picked what I picked was crazy, but I do have a clear victor for my pick for the comic of the month. And I'm going to go with You've Been Canceled, issue number 1. I believe from Mad Cave Studios, right? It's written by Kurt Pyers. Who is the artist? You think I would be better prepared being the leader of the show. You've Been Canceled.
I thought I had it here, but I don't have it here. Yeah. I'm
just killing time here. Here we go. Kevin Castanero. Sure, Kevin Castanero, Jason Wordy on the coloring there. If you're not familiar with what You've Been Canceled is, it was really great. So first of all, the idea is that at some point in the future, we have this reality TV show, game show type thing, this competition where, like if people do something that's socially unacceptable or just not a good thing to do, like sexual assault and shit like that, in our day and age, we can cancel that person, right? Well, what if in the near, not too distant future, we literally cancel people by putting a hit out on them, and then all of these assassins, like in John Wick 2, just come crawling out of the woodwork to like come and against that target and take them out. And there's this one dude who is like the best. He's ranked number 1, and he is like the best there is at what he does. And what he does is slice and dice. You get what I did there? Anyway, so, but then by the end of the book, the big twist is that he winds up on the canceled list. So now he's going to have to be like John Wick in John Wick 2, running away from all the people that are trying to come after him. I loved this book. First of all, the concept alone tells you that it's not taking itself super seriously, but at the same time, it's written incredibly well. Kurt Pyers is an amazing writer. Olympia, Youth. What's the one he's doing right now at Image? Indigo Children. Like, I love Kurt Pyers' work. I know he's a fan of the show, but I really like this book. And then aside from the story, the concept, and the character, and it all worked, and everything was introduced very efficiently and economically, the artwork was absolutely fantastic. It literally had everything I love about artwork. So everybody, along with me, it was dynamic, it was kinetic, it had texture and grit. I absolutely loved You've Been Canceled. It was super impressive. I was already looking forward to it, but it blew my mind at just how well put together it was and how masterful that artwork was. If you like works from like Daniel Warren Johnson, I'm not saying it's a Daniel Warren Johnson vibe with the art, but some of the same techniques and style do kind of fall into that, and it worked so freaking well. Manny, did you read this one?
I started it. I got to the point where he like called the harem, and I was like, oh, this isn't a dinner table book. So then I like closed it, and then I went and I think I read like Gargoyles, and I was very saddened by my decisions in life. But that said, it was the artwork does have that same, it's like clobbering time, that same kind of feel to it that you guys use that word all the time. Mobius, like it's got that kind of texture-y stuff that I'm seeing all the time. Is that who it is?
Mobius,
I couldn't remember. I was
the word.
I wanted to say Morpheus, and I was like, that's not right either. You know what I mean?
Time.
So I was like, yeah. So that's as far as I got. I got to like, he called up a harem. He's like, I need 10 of them, and I was like, oh, okay. Well,
oh man,
I think I'll read.
Oh yeah, I almost completely forgot about the part where he's like having to have sex with like 30 people at the same time.
He's got a whole room full.
Yeah, I really like that.
He's definitely an overachiever.
Yes, exactly. Right. Ranked number 1 and more than just killing people. What about you, Nick? Speaking of ranked number 1, the number 1 comic book reviewer on OnlyFans. So Nick, why don't you tell us did you read this book first of all?
I did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It was great, dude. It was great. It reminded me of Running Man. Like I'll take the reference even back a little bit further. It's like Running Man in a way, because it has that televised feel to it. And so, yeah, dude, it was awesome. It was great. Yeah. The art was really, you said it right. Like there's a lot of heaviness to it, but at the same time, it's very funny and just kind of straightforward. And you think the subject matter would be kind of edgy, which it is, but like they take it very lightheartedly. I think they did a great job with it. It was a really, really cool read. Definitely got to finish it, man. It was awesome. I liked it a lot.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad you liked it. Now, Carrie, I know that this book wasn't published by DC Comics, so I'm curious. Did you happen to read it? Because it seems like Bizarro did. Okay, we're on. Okay.
Okay, so a lot of the books that I read like are DC. So yeah, but for me,
I'm just joshing with you, Carrie. By the way, like that means you're one of us when I can just like make fun of you. And
well, like, you know, like the books you read are shit. I've been actually like coming on here and like that kind of thing has like opened me up to more indie stuff, and so I've been getting more into that. And in turn, a lot of there's some differences, but a lot of the same books that I read, Joe also reads. So he, as you saw in the comments, he absolutely loved this book. For me, I liked the art, and it was really weird because I didn't know quite what to think of the concept. I didn't know if it was poking fun at people that you know want people to, you know, take responsibility for their actions and that kind of thing, or if it was just meant to be weird and out there. So that kind of took me out a little bit, and that might just be on me, but Yeah.
My perspective on it was that I felt like it was an equal opportunity offender. Like, I don't think anything out in the book was necessarily outrageous or anything like that. Yeah. And I don't think he's making fun of the idea that people need to take responsibility for their actions, right? No. But there is this idea of people that are very like just vocally like almost mobbish in the way that they like try to just latch on to people to like bring them down. And then you got people on the other side, they're like, oh, woe is me. I can't even make a joke and I'll be canceled, you know? And I think they're like going, y'all crazy. I think it's like a Michael Morisi thing, like in Wasted Space, where he's like the left, the extreme right. Y'all all crazy. Let's call it all out and just show how ridiculous this is. Is this what y'all want? Do y'all want us to like get people to like hunt down people and kill them in front of you? And honestly, if this was a real show today, there would be a rabid audience for it, right? Like,
yeah, it would.
Like fight an American Idol to continue on. Man, it would be the biggest show. It would never dipped. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but that's my perspective on it.
Yeah. And if you want like a more mature take of this one, read Absolution, came out by AWA. It's essentially the same premise, but it's Mike Deodato Jr. and it's just crazy and it's a little darker. Same kind of thing though.
Yeah, I think the fun aspect to this book through the art and through the writing, because it's very quickly paced, right? And it is kind of wild, but it's not pushing as far as Scumbag tried to or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But it is, I think, just trying to like make some observations about our current culture realities. What's going on there? Who's that? Is that you, Manny? Are you being unprofessional right now?
I'm sorry.
Getting a phone call? What is this?
I'm sorry. No, it's actually Nellie's pimp juice. We were talking about how we're at a certain age where nobody understands our references. My wife is going to a Nelly Ja Rule Chingy concert this weekend. And so I was like trying to remind her about what 2001, 2003 felt like. Wow. So I was playing a bunch of random Nelly songs.
Ja Rule's still around.
Yeah, Ja Rule's coming to my hometown at some point, and people were like, "Dude, Ja Rule's coming." I was like, "Who gives a shit? He's a wanker." Yeah. Like that's like what 50 Cent wrote that song about him. Then they were like, "Ashanti's coming too," and I'm like,
"No, see, there you go." Because that song was just all. It was all about that song. Like
they're just gonna play that one song. They're just gonna come on stage together, do that one song, and be like, "Thanks, Huntsville."
It's just going to be an hour of that song.
It's like a 10-hour loop on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
They are all of those folks are legitimately playing a rural casino in Minnesota. So if you're wondering about where their career trajectories have gone after 50 Cent.
Hey, you know what? It's kind of makes me think of the New Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys, and Salt and Pepper tour that we recently had going on, you know, it makes me think of that.
I wanted to go to that. Then there was one that had like Vanilla Ice and Kid and Play and Salt and Pepper, and I was just like,
yes,
come on. Like, luckily, I've seen Vanilla Ice and have met them. Super cool dude.
Wow.
I was a little girl that loved New Kids on the Block, so like I can understand the appeal of wanting to go see that because I never got to see it when I was a kid. So.
Rock on. One of my favorite things to do is go to like the diviest of dive bars that has the best jukebox out there that has all the selections, and then just do a block of New Kids. Like that's one of my favorite things to do.
You see
and then right in the middle of it, ZZ Top, just to make sure everybody's still cool and happy.
I still have some of those songs like memorized, committed to memory. That and Debbie Gibson.
Oh, don't even get me started on Debbie Gibson. You gotta be Shake Your Love. I just can't shake your love. Oh, that's my shit. Anyway, right.
I have like a little vial of her perfume, her Electric Youth perfume.
Like from her skin?
No. Okay, so like other teen, heartthrobs and teeny boppers of that time period, when we were kids, she had a perfume. It was called Electric Youth. And it was sold in your local drugstore, USA, and I remember being a little girl and like being like hanging out at the drugstore that had like a little coffee counter in my hometown. And like one of the things I had to do was I had to spritz Electric Youth on me before I left because my parents would not buy me that perfume. And so like one year for my birthday, my sister got me like a little vial of it.
Okay. Okay, we got some Tiffany love out there too.
Oh yes, I love Tiffany too.
Love me some Tiffany. And Paula Abdul. Come on, straight up, Brandon. Straight up. You better tell me. All right. Speaking of Paula Abdul, she did a song with MC Cool Cat. The MC Cool Cat of this panel is Island Boy Manuel. Manny,
Boom.
Why don't you tell us what's your pick of the month?
It's actually Scat Cat.
What?
It's Scat Cat.
Is that my pick? Because I didn't prep that
Scat
one.
Cat. Yeah, Scat Cat's the pick. I'm sorry. What? I thought it was Cool Cat. MC Cool Cat. It's MC Cat. Whatever. It's MC Cat Cat.
Paul Abdul.
Yeah.
I understand.
For her song Opposites Attract, it was
I don't like cigarettes. I like to smoke. Anyway, what are we just gonna go into 80s and 90s pop tonight? Fuck the comics.
The comics sucked anyways. Let's go.
Yeah. they did kind of suck. But no, there were some absolute bangers. And, I'm gonna take it because why not? The Tenement I thought was really strong. I don't know. I can't objectively review this because it's like when my kids bring me an art project from school. I can't I love Jeff Lemire so damn much. I can't objectively review this book, but at least I think it was good. I was engrossed by the characters. I think they did a really good job of juggling a lot of characters, and it felt like the setup to a really cool, Netflix series that I want to jump into. So the Tenement I thought was really strong. Sorrentino's artwork continues to be Sorrentino's artwork. I want to use the phrases, the dynamic, the dark contrast, the moodiness, the sense of foreboding, and the way that it ramps up the tension with all of the shadows. And I could say that, but I've said it every fucking month about Andrea Sorrentino's work. So if you watch this show, this is a good book. Go and pick it up. I think it was well worth the price of admission. So the Tenement, definitely my pick of the month.
I absolutely loved this book, and Andrea Sorrentino. I'm trying to remember. I think the first time I saw his work was the I, Vampire book from the New 52, and I just remember being like, "What the hell? This is so good." The composition, the atmospheric quality of it, the spotting of blacks. Right, it is so graphically, aesthetically pleasing to me. And then you pair him with Jeff Lemire, right? I think their first book they worked on was Green Arrow, right? And then they wound up. Did Lemire work with Sorrentino on Old Man Logan, or was it Bendis that worked with him? And then Lemire came in and it was a different artist. I don't know. But they did the Green Arrow book together. Then they started doing did they do something before Gideon Falls? They did, right? They did something? I don't know. Gideon Falls was freaking baller. It was awesome. Always impressive. And now they're building the Bone Orchard Mythos, which is, we got the free comic book day one shot. We got a hardcover graphic novel, The Passageway. We've had one series already. Now we got another one. And Tenement is what Evil Dead Rise should have been. Should have been a story about a group of people in the same apartment building and this horrific influence coming into that apartment building, right? Not like an Evil Dead Rise where it's just oh yeah, there's other people here, but not really. And we're going to kill them super quick. And we're just going to focus on this one super simple story that should have just been done in a 20-minute short film. Anyway, we're not talking about Evil Dead Rise tonight. We're talking about Tenement. Tenement was awesome. It's Lemire. It's Sorrentino. Y'all know me. I love that shit. What about you, Nick? What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was the best of the Bone Orchard Mythos so far. I liked the intrigue of the first issue. That was just the Passageway, right? The Passageway, I think, was the first one that they did.
There's a free comic book day one.
But wasn't it still the Passageway, or was that something different?
The free comic book day was different, wasn't it?
It was its own little story.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a pre-log or something. So anyway, this was my most enjoyable one that they put out lately. I actually feel invested. We could talk all day about Sorrentino's art. It's absolutely amazing. Very, like we said, it was very atmospheric. It pulls you in. You can feel dirty. You feel weird when you're reading this book in a way, just because of how gritty everything is, and the coloring is just amazing. This one was great. There's a lot of interesting things going on with all the different characters. You want to know how they're all connected because they're going to all be connected somehow. There's a mystery. You don't even know which way it's going to go yet. We have a mysterious key at the end. It's going to unlock some kind of weird door. Who knows, man? But there's so much suspense and thrill in here, and I loved it. It was my favorite one of the Bone Orchard Mythos that we've seen so far from this team as of late. So
it definitely had some of the strongest characters to get into because it had a bunch of characters, right? And so that was something that I really liked about it. The other ones have been a little bit more focused in on one or two particular people. And I see people in the chat being like, yo, so what's the whole thing supposed to be about? Like, and what I love about it is all of these books work on their own. Right. But when you start reading it all together, you start piecing together a bigger picture. Have we gotten to that point yet? I don't really fucking think so. Nope. You know, I mean, I haven't really pieced together. I mean, obviously there's some kind of influence, right? And we can look at works like Gideon Falls and try to piece together maybe where they're trying to go. But I don't know. Have y'all pieced together anything yet?
Nick was slightly off here. He said that it's about a hole in the ground, a bunch of feathers in an apartment. Listen here, comic culture. All right. At the end of 10,000 Feathers, there's also a hole in the wall. It is a book about fucking holes. All right. It is. And that Shia LaBeouf made a shit ton of money on that movie. So don't discount holes.
He dug a lot of holes, bro.
Don't discount holes.
Where's the hole in this one?
Maybe the holes represent something, you know, like the idea. What is the hole? The emptiness, darkness, the void. I mean, I think that's what we're getting in. There's some kind of malevolent force that's coming out in different ways and to different people. And all the stories are obviously atmospheric horror, but they all have a different kind of vibe to it, which I really like. Because, like, for instance, 10,000 Black Feathers is actually a really strong story about this girl who's like lost her friend and someone that she absolutely loves, and like her struggle trying to find out what happened, why nobody cares, you know? And so like, there's so many other things that's great, but yeah, I guess it's just a story about holes. Nick, I guess you're right. Carrie, you reading this one?
No. And you know what? Here's the thing. I was wondering, because I had heard it was attached to this bigger universe, this bigger world. And if you're saying we can go ahead and we can just jump in and then kind of cover my bases later, then I'll probably pick it up, because I mean, to say it's kind of Evil Dead like, that definitely brings me in. And plus Jeff Lemire is obviously a good thing to bring someone in to wanting to read it. But I would also say that a hole is a space to be filled.
That's right. That's actually a good point. That is actually what's going to be on Shia LaBeouf's tombstone.
Just fill it.
I really think you would like 10,000 Black Feathers. I think you would like the story and the characters on that one in particular. But I mean, I love the book. I think it's absolutely amazing. And it's not necessarily like Evil Dead, but it is like what Evil Dead Rise was trying to do. Have you seen Evil Dead Rise yet?
I have not gotten to. Joe has seen it twice. He loved it. So
okay,
I don't know. I haven't gotten to yet.
I didn't like it that much, but it's okay. You know, we can have different opinions about things. Yeah. I'm not offended. I'm not taking it personal or nothing. But there's the idea of like a group of small people in an apartment building.
Yes.
And then something happening to them. But like Evil Dead Rise just really focused in on this one family and just ignored everything else. And just anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We can talk about that Sunday night, Rockin Robbie Live, maybe if you want. I'll be talking about Indiana Jones for sure. So that should be fun. All right, Nick. What's your pick of the month, sir?
We're gonna go. All right, we're gonna go with a Marvel book, because everybody knows how we feel about Marvel books. So we're going with Daredevil.
Okay, thank God. I thought you were gonna take my number 2.
Daredevil number 12. Yes, from Zdarsky and Kaketto. This is Daredevil's had a rough time lately. If anybody's been reading what's been going on, he's essentially leading like the fist against the hand. And there's a gigantic prophecy that him and Elektra and Stick are trying to fulfill. And they went up against Punisher. If you read some of the Punisher stuff, that was all connected as well. A brief overlap. And he's having like this gigantic crisis of faith. You know, is he really in control of his own destiny? Is somebody else pulling the strings? Things like that. But essentially his entire life got flipped upside down. A lot of recent personal losses that he's going through, and he's trying to reconcile through all of that. But I think what made this particular issue stand out, because some of that storytelling was a little bit muddy, I thought, leading into this run here. But I think what really stood out was like the artwork in this issue was the strongest I've ever seen in a Daredevil book, I think. I mean, there's moments where they're sitting in the woods, just like the scenery around them. It was spectacular. The art is extremely strong in this issue. The other element that's extremely strong is the emotion and the characters inside the story. His moment with every single person in this book. There's a character that we meet in the very beginning. I don't remember this character at all, although that's not surprising. Blind Spot.
Yeah, Blind Spot he's from the Charles Soule run.
Sure, yeah.
which I didn't really like.
So I mean, like there's a catch up with that character in here, and he's been busy essentially guarding the gates of hell. And you think it might be metaphorically speaking, but it's almost literally speaking here. And there's a moment where he like relieves that burden of him, and that trope we've seen before of like, it's kind of like Indiana Jones in a way, right? Like he's the next Templar knight coming in there to guard the cup of the Christ, right? It's like that kind of thing going on. And then there's this moment with Elektra coming in when she realizes what Matt's plan is, which is essentially seek revenge for the people he loves that have, that he lost recently. And the only way to do that is to go down in hell itself and pull them back out. And when Elektra gets wind of their plan, man, they have just like this beautiful fight dance thing that just kind of brings all the emotion from their relationship back together. Very, very well choreographed, absolutely beautiful. And like the end of the book, it's got like this big punch at the end that just makes me so excited to turn the page on the next issue. I thought this was done extremely, extremely well. Even though I didn't really like the books leading up to it in this series, this issue really made an impact on me. So I'm definitely going with Daredevil 12 this one.
Overall, I really like Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. But I would agree with you, Nick, that I think that it's been lagging ever since actually Matt went to prison. I think that the story is just a little bit too overly extended at times. And it takes a while to get to the next point. And it doesn't kind of have a clear focus, like narratively going through. I mean, I'm sure maybe reading it, after the fact, maybe it will iron out. This was the best issue of Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil yet. Now, when I first started reading it and I'm getting to the blind spot stuff, I'm just like, so fucking bored with this. But then you get to the bit where he's going to go to hell, sacrifice himself. Try to get Foggy and them back, right?
Yep.
Elektra is one of my absolute favorite comic book characters, right? At Marvel or DC. I fucking love Elektra. And I love her relationship with Matt. That beautiful, tragic, kind of flawed love that they have. A very real connection that just can't work, right? It's what they try. That's what Tom King tried to do with Batman and Catwoman. They've always nailed that with Daredevil and Elektra. And you're right. I think it's Chiquetto's best work I've ever seen. Like, it is goddamn beautiful. Like, the fight between Daredevil and Elektra, because Elektra's standing in the way of, I don't want the man that I love to go to hell, to kill himself and go to hell, right? And then the way that it looks like the Japanese cherry blossoms are like falling and shit like that. Like, it's just so fucking beautiful. And then so tragic when he manipulates her into the way of killing him. Right, so that he can go. Oh my God, it was so good, and all the bits where they do the long vertical panels showing their previous relationships. So lots of references to like the Frank Miller stuff, even some of the Bendis stuff, even some of the Fall from Grace stuff that they did back in the day when he had the Daredevil armored suit, which was fucking extremely awesome in the 90s. Let me tell you, I loved it. I'm an Elektra mark. I'm a Daredevil mark. I loved this issue. I will say this though. Best art in a Daredevil book ever. I get what you're saying, but have you read Daredevil Love and War written by Frank Miller with artwork by Bill Sienkiewicz?
Oh no, in this run.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant
best artwork of this run.
Frank Miller
of the Zdarsky era.
Okay, because you were starting to piss me off. So
no.
All right,
Robbie, here's the deal. Me and Nick are new at this, right? We've been reading books for like 2 years. So I have a 2-year-old at home. That boy thinks Kraft mac and cheese is the best thing he's ever eaten, and he would eat it for every meal.
You got to buy that kid Velveeta, bro. Come on.
You've been reading comics your whole life, so you're on some like homemade pasta with bechamel, truffles, and bacon shit. Let us have our Kraft mac and cheese, bro. It's all good.
All right. Well, I just need Marvel to put Daredevil Love and War back in print, okay, so that we can all we can all absorb that one day, maybe for a.
Didn't I hear that it is going back in print?
Are you serious?
I may have dreamt it, but like I could have sworn I had heard that they were going to put it back in print, and maybe I imagined it, but
well, I really hope not, because now you got my hopes up, Carrie. Speaking of having my hopes up, you reading Daredevil?
No, but can I just say that is some BS that Daredevil is tricking his beloved to stabbing him.
Well, he doesn't trick her.
He doesn't trick her. He manipulates the weapons during a battle. See, there's a lot of wires and shit going around and a lot of sharp stuff. And he just like manipulates the scene where he can like use leverage to stab himself with her own stuff. So it's like,
yeah, but
it's
she's
tragic and beautiful.
She's holding the weapon. Is this what happens, or?
Yeah, she's holding the weapons and they're fighting, and he's using his what do you call his thing?
That rope in his baton thing.
Yeah, the never-ending goddamn rope that he's gotten that, right? That just swirls all around. And he wraps it all around them and then pulls it.
And then he yanks, and then
it's like an embrace. It's like a lover's embrace.
Yeah, they start hugging. Oh.
And it's also reflective of when Bullseye killed Elektra, because it's kind of the same
without the tent.
It's also kind of abusive. You know, like
God damn, Carrie. It's
no, it's not.
I mean, but the thing that's like
for him to do that to her, to like use that technique to do that.
He's gonna sit there and be like,
of course.
I was holding the weapon that killed him. Like that's BS, man. Like I know it's comics, so I allow it, but still, like.
Carrie,
I never thought about that.
He's gonna come back. He's gonna be fine because now he's just walking through hell,
death
right?
is nothing in comic books, okay?
Unless
especially that has like an actual like purpose. So like you guys are saying that he's going to bring people back. So yeah, death is not forever. It's a comic book, but like still, like I'd be like, if I were that girl's friend, if I were Elektra's friend, I'd be like, girl. He comes back. You got to make him work for it double time. Because we both know he's like cute and everything, but like no, like you gotta play hard to get a little bit on that one, because he made you kill him when he knew you were totally against this whole thing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that is messed up.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
An Elektra's relationship is one of the most toxic out there. And there's no lie about that, man. Okay. Like at all. It's kind of built on
the most exciting love affairs are usually a little bit toxic.
Yeah. That's why Brittany wrote that song. You guys want to talk about pop music again instead of comics?
Well, you know what? In the chat, they like I found out that Billy and I have another thing in common. He likes Hole. He likes Courtney Love's Hole. And I'm like, I'm super like I'm super excited now. It's pretty cool.
We have things in common. Even though Billy, I think, just called us all hypocrites. I don't know what I don't know that Billy did not like the new Punisher run, in case Manny. What do you think about Daredevil?
Dude, it's a gorgeous book. It's gorgeous. I love the way that everything is so zoomed in this. Like it's a big fight. It's a couple big fights, right? Because he fights Blind Spot for like half a second too, and like there would be a want to go wide, right, to show the action, and instead everything is super close and intimate in every fight in this, which I thought was really cool. Every time you see a face, it's a close up. You're only seeing like medium and close up shots. I like the framing in this. I thought it was really cinematic, really well done. I had some thoughts about Chip Zdarsky and what he's doing at the big two between Batman and Daredevil. There's some interesting parallels. You guys can check that out in the Sunday Comic Rewind. Actually got to see him and Rom in the Batman writing room in that video, so go and check that out. But why did she
what you're saying based on what you guys are telling me about this story? I totally get what you're saying, because I am reading Batman too. So
the same he double dipped. I love that dude not only like wrote Public Domain and he's like, fuck you, Big Two, now he's cashing checks writing the same fucking book. I love it. I love that man. Chip motherfucking Zdarsky, stop blocking me on social media. Let me back into your life. I love you so much.
I'm gonna start calling him Double Dip Zdarsky.
Chip Zdarsky, go back to your YouTube and do more of those funny videos.
You double dip the chip.
But it was good. It was good. Why did she bring size to, like, it's her husband? She's like,
she brings size everywhere.
That's what I mean.
Why stab him?
She's got blunted size. Since she's taken on the mantle of Daredevil, so that's even more like, think about that.
Ouch.
Right?
Let's see.
Ouch.
Oh, you know what's fun is in that vertical panels you were talking about before, the current day ones, they're blunted. The older ones are pointed. So they did some homework. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they're pointed in here. It looks like. Huh.
What, they switch them out? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, look at it. They switched them.
Sons of but I like the new suit. I'm bad at spec. I don't know if I was supposed to buy like 10 copies of this for like the last page. So that being said, it is a good book. I don't know. I jump in and out of Daredevil. But I do finish it.
The question is if he's writing the same story for both, which story does it work? Which character does it work best for?
Oh, it works so much better for Daredevil because that whole Batman in that weird. We just did this with Spider-Man. Like I don't know. Chip Zdarsky's like at Marvel. Like I'm gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna tell him that Spider-Man should go to this weird parallel world with all these weird things. And we'll do that for a while, and then I'll have Batman do. Like this is 3D chess, Mr. Zdarsky, and I love it. I love it.
This is his thing. This is what he likes. This is his thing that he likes to write. Then apparently, huh? Like
double dip chip.
Dip chip.
Yeah.
That's the new bit.
All right, Carrie, what's your pick of the month?
Well, guys, it is. If you follow me on social media, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know what the answer to that question is because I read it last night. And that is The Seasons Have Teeth, number 3.
Ooh.
This book beautifully destroyed me. And I love it. I'm here for it. So obviously we've got a team of Dan Waters, Sebastian Cabral, and Dan Jackson. And we are continuing. It's a 4-issue series, you guys know. Where we are now at Autumn. And Autumn is hanging out in Chernobyl, which is pretty weird, but also really cool. And a couple months ago, I posed a question to the panel about, is Cindy alive or dead? In which we get the answer to that question in this book. Yeah. So we not only find out the answer to that question, and you know what? You said spoilers, so let's go ahead and go for it. Cindy is dead. Cindy got cancer. And so when he's talking about betraying her is because he had spent all this time in his life not really chasing the dragon, not really like going far enough in his career of photography to really feel like he had made that much of a difference in his own life. And when his beloved Cindy got cancer, all of a sudden he's just like, I had always taken pictures of Cindy, so I just kept taking pictures of her. And he used her illness to get somewhere with photography. And that is how, when he's talking about betraying her, he betrayed her trust, and he was not there when she died because he was entering a photography contest. Don't do that shit. Don't ever put your career or your shit like that above the person you love. And I loved this book because it was like, when you're getting like the one, it's with the art, you have the difference in the tone of the color between, which is really easy to tell the difference between what's happening in that moment and his flashbacks, just thinking about what happened with Cindy. When it starts really spiraling, that's when Autumn is coming up and like being like, hey, jerk, I'm here. And it just climaxes like in this really cool way. And it's just like, you find out that while he sent his picture of Autumn, he's missing. That's how this ends.
Yeah.
And it's just like, one, he's walking into Chernobyl, nothing, like no protection whatsoever. So what's going on with him is now my next question.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing there is that it's almost like a death wish type thing, right? Like he's trying to do this one thing and he feels like somehow he can make amends to this because he's kind of self-punishing himself over this, right? And what I love about this book is the structure. Yeah, 4 issues for each of the seasons. And in spring, we get like the introduction of him and his wife, like how they meet, how they get together. And then in summer, like when it's like at its peak and the sun's in victory, and now the fall, right? And winter is going to be the cold aftermath, right? And it's going to be interesting to see where we go because Dan's doing this in 4 issues. And like you mentioned, with the art and the coloring, everything is so spot on. I love this book so much. Dan Waters, his use of language is like nobody else. Like the only people that come close are maybe like as much as I love Rom and Alex's work, I think Dan has such a lyrical and literary quality to his verbiage, right? To the way
it's not just lyrical. Yes, it is, but it's one of those situations where it's kind of like reading Shakespeare. So like you can read Shakespeare and you can read it straight, right? And you can also take Shakespeare and you can read it specifically in iambic pentameter. And it changes. It changes the feel. And so you have somebody that can, just sit there and seem like it's poetry, or you can be speaking in iambic pentameter. Either way.
Yeah. And I also really like the kind of thematic quality of the idea of we don't need to look back at the seasons of our lives with shame, guilt, and regret and trying to capture that at the end of our lives. We need to, instead of always
deal with your shit now.
Yeah, deal with your shit now and enjoy the seasons of your life instead of like trying to just capture it in like a photograph or something like that. Like there's some really deep stuff. I'm really excited to see what happens in the 4th issue. Manny, you reading this one, right? You better be.
I am. I love this book, and I didn't read this issue yet because I didn't get it in my pull box, but I'm excited.
I gave it away for you.
No,
Sorry.
no, that's perfectly okay. I'm not a smart man, Carrie. I don't read a ton of like Dan Waters stuff to understand what's going on. I read it because for some reason he's able to touch emotional parts of me that resonate. And it's just that resonance. It's the tuning fork. All right. The fillings in my teeth hurt when I read someone like Dan Waters, and I love it. All right. That's what I'm reading it for. I don't know what the hell this book's about. It's about kaiju and a photographer, but I also know that it's about lost love. I also know that it's about the idea of worrying about, in the first issue, he's going out and he's doing something dangerous, but he's worried about these kids. And he thinks these kids are destructive, but it's the kids that are going up to the kaiju and they're going to change the future. It's like recognizing that and looking back on his life and seeing that there was a time when he thought he was going to touch the future and change things, and he didn't. Right. Mm-hmm. And then he goes off and he runs away from the flames of his first big assignment, the time when he could really shine, be the photographer he wants to be. And it gets too hot and he runs from it. He fails a crucible and fucking has to deal with that fallout. So I'm excited to see what the hell Dan Waters has happening. And I won't understand it for many moons after, but that's okay.
I think you're having an emotional reaction to it. And that's what they're trying to, I think that's exactly what he's wanting you to do. He's wanting you to look at it and say, because I just mentioned Shakespeare. The reason why colleges and high schools and everyone keep on reading Shakespeare, keep on producing Shakespeare plays and productions is because there's a feeling that it gives you that is universal to even now. And I mean, it's not just Shakespeare, you see things like Chekhov and older movies that you're sitting there, they're in black and white, or maybe they're even silent movies. And you're like, how does this even apply to now? How am I being entertained by Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times? How am I being entertained by any of this? And it's because when you get right down to it, it's the emotional reaction you have while reading it. It's how it affects you. It's how you view the rest of the world, even though the world has definitely changed, it's not really all that different.
That was incredibly incredible. That was a really good explanation. I wanted to really make a Star Trek joke. I'm not when you said Chekhov, because that would be inappropriate, because that was very good what you just said. So
well,
I appreciate the restraint.
I was specifically talking about Anton Chekhov, but that's
is that, I thought his last name was Yelchin.
Jesus.
No.
All right.
all right.
Nick, you reading this one, buddy?
I have not read issue number 3 yet. So, but I'm excited to get into it.
Double spoilage.
I know, double spoilage. It's perfectly fine, because like, I mean, we did talk about issue number 1, and we had this conversation about like, you know, what's actually going on in this guy's life. And so I think the theme we're seeing right now, though, is like, yeah, he's kind of getting out there, but like he's putting himself in dangerous positions all the time now. And we were talking about like, does he have a death wish? So like he was the only person besides those kids who confronted spring, and then he ran into the fires for summer, and now he's going to Chernobyl in this. And so it's like, well, I mean, like you're not going to come back from Chernobyl and last very long. So like there's obviously some kind of a death wish there in a way. And like I haven't read the issue, so I don't really know like what's the circumstance that gets him there, and like is he the only one that doesn't have not wearing?
It's a different level of willful risk.
Right.
Right. Like we saw recently, if you've paid attention to the news, like the Titan submersible. Some of the interviews of people talking about how they almost went in that submersible. They were almost in that submersible when it went down. That the reason they didn't is because it seemed like this person that was in charge of all of this had too much of a desire to be in risky situations.
Yeah, he just wanted to push the envelope too much, too fast, too careless. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they close this out. I'm trying to like put my non-writer hat on and just be like, how do you end this in the next issue? If it's only going to be 4 issues, where do you go from there? I think it's going to have some kind of beautiful climactic ending, and there's going to be some kind of self-sacrifice, willful sacrifice at the end, and it's going to have to be something around winter, which has got me curious to see how you're going to play out. I'm definitely going to get issue number 3. It's just not in my stack right now.
It's the winter of our discontent.
There you go.
I'm really excited to see what the color palette's going to be for the 4th issue as well. Like for sure. All right. Round 2. I'll kick us off with a Marvel book. Like, I have been accused of years for being a Marvel hater. Well, I honestly think Marvel sucked for years. However, somebody at Marvel's making some good decisions. Maybe more than one somebody's. But whoever's doing it, keep doing it, because somebody decided to put Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein and Matt Wilson on the Incredible Hulk. And they decided, hey, let's take a horror look at Hulk. Let's make it monstrous. Let's put some body horror into it. And let's ignore the entire bullshit Donny Cates Smashtronaut thing and just develop right from Immortal Hulk. Fuck yeah. Sounds good to me. Incredible Hulk number 1 is my second pick of the month. I really liked the story. I really like a monstrous, horrific tone and atmosphere applied to the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk has never been a comic book that, for the most part, appeals to me. The one time in my life where it super appealed to me was during the Bruce Jones run. Okay. And Paul Jenkins right before him. Paul Jenkins had this like psychological approach, and the Peter David stuff's fine. But like Bruce Jones had this like man on the run, horrific. Hulk is a monster. When he turns into Hulk, he doesn't want to. Bad shit happens. It's not good for him. And that whole run got undone when Peter David came back and wrote it all off as a Bob Newhart dream, right? That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. Don't discount another creator's run just because you didn't like it and be like, oh, it was all a dream. That's some bullshit. Because there was something there that people liked. In fact, the whole Mr. Blue, Mr. Green thing comes from Bruce Jones. Anyway, I'm glad that we're back to this horrific approach towards the Hulk. We had this like metaphysical, esoteric approach by Al Ewing that had varying degrees of success. Then we had the ridiculous wannabe dumb clean fun of the Donny Cates run that just fizzled the fuck out, right? and never really hit where it needed to be, and was a waste of Ryan Ottley's talents, in my opinion. And I like Nick Klein a lot. I first really noticed Nick Klein when he did a Deadpool run, right? I think it was the Scotty Young, Nick Klein Deadpool run, right? And then he started working on Donny Cates' Thor, and that Thor run petered out, and I don't give a shit about Thor right now. But Nick Klein, as impressed as I am at the weight and gravity of his art that has been given in books like Deadpool or Thor, I didn't know this dude was capable of what he's able to do in Incredible Hulk #1. This is the most gnarly, horrific, brutal, and painful transformation the Hulk has ever had in my life. You see a set of teeth coming through another set of teeth. You see like arms gorging out like pot pie. You see like skin ripping. You see like it looks painful. And the idea of the Hulk being like, Banner's mine now, y'all. The green door is closed. Banner is mine. And then this whole like monstrous, evil, dark, magical kind of thing going on in this group and crew. And oh my goodness, why am I liking Marvel books all of a sudden? You got Marvel books making picks of the week left and right. I think last year there were 2 Marvel picks of the week. I think we've already surpassed that, doubled that, if not this year alone. I fucking loved the book. Manny, did you read Incredible Hulk? What'd you think?
I freaking loved it. I loved it. My entry point to the Hulk is the Immortal Hulk. So this was good. It fit right in. Yeah. They do make passing mention to the Donny Cates stuff. You know, I had him under control and I tortured him. I think is like what he gets, which is good. I like that. Like I don't have to have Tiff read the Donny Cates stuff now. She can just finish reading Immortal, which she's doing right now, and then she could jump into this, because I don't want to have to explain why they were playing soccer like a month ago on a planet of Hulks. Like I don't want to
dodgeball with planets.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Dodgeball, right?
It was.
Yeah. They were throwing planets at each other or whatever it was.
So I like that. I like that. I was not expecting how gnarly this would get. Like I don't know. Philip Kennedy Johnson is cool. He's cool. He did but like his Alien run isn't very horrific. You know what I mean? And like, so I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, right? And then chick rips her face off and turns into some sort of weird alligator person and kills a bunch of other dudes. I was like, this is awesome.
Turns into a Grendel, right? Because if you look at the back matter, they're like, it's a Grendel. So they got that kind of like Beowulf kind of vibe and idea behind it too.
So cool. And then I don't know, I was going to read this with Kyrie. It's a little horrific, but I was like, that's okay, because nightmares, it means that I'm needed for a little while and longer. I know that's the terrible parenting, but I was like, I'll read it with Kyrie, but then he eats a dog. So I was like, nah, I can't do that. Yeah, but I like that. I like that the Hulk is eating dogs, because it makes the Hulk. It doesn't. I don't know. We live in an age where Mark Ruffalo is the charmingest fucking Hulk in the planet, and this is cool. This makes it. It dehumanizes the Hulk in a way that makes you nervous about when you're going to see the guy next. So I don't know. I dug it.
Yeah.
I love that bit at the end too. After that transformation, he's like, "Tell Stark, Banner is mine.
Yeah.
Leave me alone." That shit's just so fucking awesome to me. And I love the Banner on the run. It gives you the opportunity in stories to have smaller stories with smaller lives, right? You know, he can go to a random town in Kansas and meet 4 people. You can explore this for 6 to 8 issues, and then tell a compelling story about them, and then move on and do something new and fresh and keep it developing. And I like that kind of episodic nature of the potential of where this could possibly go. What about you, Nick? What do you think about Incredible Hulk?
I loved it. I a little bit newer to Nick Klein. I started really paying attention to Nick Klein during the Thor run, and I was like, wow, this is really great. And you really missed him when he was off the book, because there's a couple issues where he would fall off and you're like, oh man, Thor sucks again. And then he jumps back on, I'm like, oh man, Thor's great again. And so that was the selling point for me for this. And so I was like, okay, it has the potential to be something really graphic, really horrific, and that's exactly what we got. And I think you said it right. I wonder if the writers, they went back and they're like, all right, listen, nobody likes the Donnie run, nobody likes the direction, the poppy, it's brutal, but it's cartoonish brutal almost, let's go back to what people loved about the L. Ewing run. Let's go back to there and bring back that horror, that graphic nature, and let's just do that. And let's get somebody who's just super gritty, dark, knows how to play with those with that kind of a scene, with that kind of color, with those kind of lines, and they got the perfect person for it. I got really excited too at the very end when we have like this cult leader who takes this like demonic essence in the very beginning. We kind of talked about it a little bit. She's basically calling the world's terrors to go find Hulk. And so it's really cool because we got like, we're down in some tombs in a cave, and then we got like Man Thing, and we got like Ghost Rider and stuff like that, or Spirit of Vengeance, or whatever that's supposed to represent. And everyone's going to be chasing after the Hulk. And we all know what happens when Hulk gets cornered, he gets threatened, things like that. It's going to turn into some brutal, brutal crap. And Nick Klein's on it. I'm all about it.
There is something too that's different about Nick's line, right? In Thor and even the Deadpool run, there was a little bit more loose. It feels so solid here. Those lines are so bold, defined, and solid.
Thick and bold and dark.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. And I love an artist that like will sling that ink in a different way to catch something particularly important for the essence of the book that they're working on. And that I think Nick Klein has got a very bright future. And I'm excited to see eventually when he gets to kind of do his own thing, right? Yeah. Without some schlub like Philip Kennedy Johnson or Donny Cates attached to him, or Scotty Young, right? Or even Double Dip Chip. I don't think they've worked together. Carrie, have you read An Incredible Hulk?
I have not. That is sitting here waiting for me. I have not gotten to it yet. It's come highly recommended from Joe. So we got the really cool George Perez variant cover.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. But what I was going to say about an artist, the artist, it seems really interesting how like changing an artist can just totally like change a book.
Oh, yeah.
And like, for instance, I can relate with the whole taking Batman, taking Jorge Jimenez off of Batman. And then you notice that. And then you put them back on. It's like, oh, okay, we're back here again. Okay. And it's this like yo-yo thing about taking them off, putting them on, taking them off. And I think like the last issue, he did the cover, but he didn't do the interior. That was Belen Ortega, which there was, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but you could definitely tell a difference. But I was going to say about one of the things that Robbie was saying about the line work for Nick Klein. That's one of those situations when an artist can alter their craft that takes an artist from being a craftsman to being an artist. Because somebody can draw good and just be like, here, draw this. And they're a good graphic designer. However, when somebody is like, I want you to convey this feeling. And they're able to be like, okay, so I can go and I can put that feeling into my work. And they alter their style like that, but it's still their style. But that's when you're taking an artist from being a craftsman to an artist.
Yep.
Well put, actually. And Nick Klein's got a bright future in this industry, 100%. Well put. All right, Manny, it's up to you now. And I'm going to dip out because you know me, I got to whiz. In an hour, I got to go whiz. So why don't you tell us your pick and then lead the panel along?
All right. Well, then let's just go. I'm not good at picks, so I'm just going to say, I'm going to go with this one because I liked it. All 8 Eyes was fun. I'm really liking All 8 Eyes. It's stupid fun, but I'm a guy that like, dude, I will watch 8-Legged Freaks every time it's on. Like I like a big dumb spider movie. And this one it's not even really big dumb. Like there is some really cool stuff happening between the main character and I should know the character's name, but I don't. The old guy mentor character, that he deals with. Reynolds. We get a lot more of his backstory. There's something really cool about the fact that most of the backstory and character development we're getting is not from the main character. The main character does have that moment now. He's in his hero's journey where he's like, I'm going to fight the bad guys. Like you get that. But most of it is relating to characters around him, whether they're friends that are trying to help him, letting him sleep on the couch, and you get to see expectations being put on him in two different ways, right? People that want him to clean up his life, sleep on his couch, get, whatever, get a job, pay their rent, whatever the hell's going on. And then you got Reynolds, who's like, no, we're going to kill spiders. And dude's vacillating between, I don't know if I want to kill spiders. And now he wants to kill spiders. And it's just that damn simple. But it's got some really cool moments. The artwork is really strong. And I'm digging All Eight Eyes. Nick, are you reading this one, buddy?
No. What's the premise? You said there's a couple guys killing spiders. Like I haven't
it's
read
so
this one,
good.
though.
They're killing big ass spiders. I don't know if that's the species and the genus, because I don't know if that's even the right word.
No, that sounds
I'm
right.
using.
That sounds right. I'm a biologist. I know.
Big ass spider. Lots of different big ass spiders.
Ooh.
And the idea is that these spiders have been around like forever and we don't know where they came from. Are they a societal construct? Like is the government breeding spiders to get rid of people? Maybe they've just always been there. Maybe this is nature's way of thinning the herd. They don't dig into why the spiders, but they do touch.
But they're after humans though, right? Like they're attacking.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So it's like but there's a reason.
Well, and what's cool, Nick, is that they don't dig into the why. They don't dig into the why, but they mention the why, which means the why is important, if for no other reason than for you to think about these things. Why are these spiders here, and why are they preying on people that seem to not matter? I think that's important. The main character is a man who's struggling to pay his rent and couch surfing, and he's partnered up with a homeless individual. We have people that society has pushed off.
Oh,
and now they're fighting giant spiders. They're fighting for their place in this world. They're fighting for the people that they love. And it's dudes fighting spiders. It's so good, Nick.
Oh man, I'm sold.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think that we kind of learn about Vin through his relationships with other people. With the woman that in the issue before this was like, oh my God, you need help, because he tried to be honest with her about what he was going through. And then you get this issue where he's like, something happens. They have an encounter with this humongoid spider that it's like Lord of the Rings level, like Lord of the Rings in the cave level spider. Okay, like this sucker is huge. And I remember reviewing this on my channel and like trying to describe like a spider size range, and it was like I definitely used the Lord of the Rings reference, but like this is just like insane, because like either like they're like this, or they're like catastrophically like colossal size, and you get this like extra special glimpse into like that's in the beginning of the issue.
There you go.
And they are fighting this, and you have this woman that is comes across them, and she's kind of aware, but nobody's wanting to listen to her either talk about it because for some reason nobody cares, because it doesn't affect I hate to say this, but it doesn't affect rich people, because the spiders are only in places that are not necessarily the best places. Like we're talking like if this is like New York, which I'm pretty sure it's kind of modeled after New York, that like they're going to fight spiders in like Central Park at night, which you go to New York City, they tell you don't go to Central Park at night, because it's bad.
Because of the spiders.
And apparently
the spider's an analog for hold on.
So you get like some background information about Reynolds. You find out that, why Reynolds is doing what he's doing. And that is just like super heartbreaking. It was just like, oh man, okay, Reynolds and Possum, which is the dog. It's like, okay, like this sucks so bad for this guy. Like he was probably like in this position where he's probably middle class, you know, and all of a sudden this spider attacks his wife and child in their home. And then the freaking apartment blows up when he's running out the door, and his wife and his kid are, you know, they're gone. It's like, now he's in this position, and Vin calls it, let's go get your white whale, because he is not going to stop until he finds this spider and gets rid of it. This, mothership spider. Okay. Like King Kong of spiders. And
wow,
I'm just really loving it so much. I didn't think that I would, but I'm totally into this book.
I am very much digging All Eight Eyes. The creative team, the art is by Piotr Kowalski, who did Where Monsters Lie, Join the Future. And this is some of the best work I've seen from him. Who's the writer, though? It's somebody that I'm not super familiar with.
Steve Fox.
Steve Fox.
Yes.
There we go. Who is Steve Fox? I don't know, but is he a fox in real life? We shall find out. Crazy.
maybe.
He's cute. He's got Gage earrings, kind of cleaner cut look. I don't know. Cute guy.
Really? Gage
Sized.
earring, cute guy, clean cut.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I got to meet this Steve guy.
Yeah, he's cute.
All right. Okay. Hey, Steve, if you're watching, we'll have a conversation. Anyway.
He does like X-Men, random X-Men books, I think.
Oh, never mind then. Never mind. Sorry.
I'm looking him up right now. Like,
the only person who can do random X-Men books that will make me read them is Dennis Camp. And so I'm kind of pissed off that Dennis has got hired to do an X-Men book, but I'm very happy for him.
So wait. Okay. So I'm looking him up because I'm here. I'm the feminine energy of the panel. Okay. So this guy, I'm the presumed feminine energy of the panel. Okay. Excuse me. So this guy, he's got like the earplugs, right? He's got a very punk look to him. If I'm looking at the right guy.
Yeah.
Like he's got tattoos.
There's a picture of him with a dog in a flannel shirt.
Where did the picture I just downloaded of him go?
Yep, there he is. He's drinking some coffee. All right.
That's exactly what
he's super cute.
Steve, you holler at us, man.
I am a sucker for punky guys. So like,
I know he looks like he's in a Blink 182.
Oh,
that's a deal breaker.
What is that? His septum or whatever? That's dope.
And I'm seeing a picture where he's clearly drinking tea or coffee. I'm not sure.
Dude, a black crew neck sweatshirt with white sparrows on it. Does that not dope. Say I am like the coolest fucking guy in the room?
All right, time to stop crushing on Steve Fox. I do like this book. I think it's cool. Kyle Starks is not doing this book. I don't know why I thought about him. Why? Because he did Where's Monsters Lie. Anyway, you haven't mentioned a Kyle Starks book yet, Manny.
No, I haven't, because you fucking read I Hate This Place this month.
It was good.
It was okay.
Did you read Peacemaker this month? That was good.
That was phenomenal, but it's the same fucking book as last month.
Yeah, Manny's video about that is hilarious.
It's the same book. Somebody get him a friend. That's so damn sad. Did you watch the James Gunn interview on Michael Rosenbaum? They're talking about his wedding. He's like, I've never felt loved. And I'm like, dude, fucking, that's sad. Don't make me sad. And then Peacemaker's like, I got a friend. He's a giant gorilla. And then the gorilla kicks him in the nuts. Yeah. I'm so tired of things of creators who make funny things that I love making me sad. Don't do that. I have Jeff Lemire to make me sad on the regular. All right.
Yeah.
Goodness. God.
Jeff Lemire brings enough of that sad dad energy. You know, we got Fire Guy Ryan in the chat, so I just want to give a shout out to Fire Guy Ryan. He is a brilliant mind when it comes to comic books. Super cool dude. And Ryan, we got to have you on the show, but now I'm worried if we bring you in the next 3 months, you're just going to keep picking your book. Everybody go check out Crashdown by Comic Tom, Ben Templesmith, and Fire Guy Ryan.
Or we're going to embarrass ourselves by picking it and he's sitting right there.
Or he'll be like, Crashdown, what'd you guys think? And I'll be like, it sucked.
Oh God, that's that.
No. I'm just kidding. I'm really excited. Tom and Ryan are two super cool dudes, and I'm a huge fan of Ben Templesmith. So I think this might be the first Whatnot comic I like. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. I hope so. Yeah. Anyway, not to put Ryan on the spot. Now I'm on the spot. Now I'm like, fuck.
we had the pair on Blame Fable, Amazing Friends. So that was a really great episode. So check that one out too.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how well his name and Comic Tom's name work in the Tom and Jerry Kids theme song. Like that was the thing that was
a highlight. That was a highlight. That was.
All right, Manny, your pick was All Eight Eyes. So Nick, what's another book you want to highlight tonight?
I'm going to bring it up because we haven't talked about this book in months because of the release schedule. But even when it did come out, it wasn't as great as it has always been. And we're going to talk about Saga issue number 65. This one was, for me, a big standout issue in the last 10 issues, right? 55 to 65. I think this was probably the best issue of the 10 issues that we've gotten recently. And I mean, like, if you haven't been reading Saga, it's almost impossible to tell you the complexity of like the story, the characters, the relationships they have, because you just, I don't know, it would be extremely hard to actually like explain all that stuff. You have to really read it and experience all this stuff. But there's so many revenge missions, and there's so many relationships started. There's a lot of like love and a lot of loss and things like that. And people don't forget the pain that they were under or the pain they experienced. And like, this book is really, really shocking in the way that like it finds random moments to unleash that revenge or that trauma on characters in a way that we just did not see coming. And this particular issue, there's a really great scene between like Gwendolyn and the Will, and it was just awesome and amazing. We talked about line work with Nick Klein. Fiona Staples is just getting better and better. There's like a radiance, a glow that she has on here. On this issue, it really stood out to me. I absolutely loved it. Again, it's a very difficult book to explain. You have to really experience it. And there's a tragedy at the end, kind of in a classic Saga fashion. It's like characters you know and love, they're put in a position where there's little or no hope to get out of that situation. And that's definitely how this issue ends in here. It's just a book that's just it's so layered, and it hasn't been as great. It's been like 80% as great as how I remember it back in the day, but this one really cranked it up to 100. And I loved it. This was a great issue of Saga this month, and I'm so glad we can talk about it again.
Hell
and there
yeah.
it is.
Spillio, I'll forgive you for not having read Saga. That's fine. That's forgivable. But you have a mission now, my friend. You need to read Saga. You will really like it. Trust me.
The trades are super cheap. And you can fly through them.
You read them really quick. In fact, I would advise you to get the deluxe hardcovers because you're going to like it that much.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Buy those 3 and then just get caught up. This was the best issue of Saga since it's returned.
For sure.
It was 100%. And like, Saga is deceptively so good that it's deceptively simple in a way, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you read an issue of Saga and you're like, okay, I got the next chapter of the story. But there is something really technically sound about being able to deliver a monthly comic for over 60 issues, that every issue you read it and you go, even if you're not blown away by it, and you're blown away by Saga when you read it as a whole, right? Because you get the whole vibe. But when you read it issue to issue, sometimes you go, okay, it's another issue. It's cool. Every issue progresses forward. Every issue moves things forward emotionally, narratively, plot-wise. Everything always pushes this entire thing forward. And then you have moments like this. And this was such a well put together big issue, because this is one I don't necessarily want to spoil.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't spoil this one either.
There's more than one scene where you feel danger for a character, right? And the way that those are intercut together, Saga has, this is the pace of Saga when you read a random issue of Saga. Boom, 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 boom. This one went boom, 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 boom. It had such a pace.
Yeah.
And I need to go back and look at it structurally and be like, how many pages did they devote to story A, then story B, and then when they were intercutting, what did they do? Because it tightened up, right? Yeah. Shit that Tom King wishes he could do well, right? We always got to get a dig in on Tom King on this show. That's why he'll never be on this channel. So
that's okay. I'll just interview him instead.
Human Target's great. All right, so
Tom King, you're welcome on mine.
But this issue of Saga, when I got to the end of this one, bruh, And the entire issue, I'm like, oh my God, someone's going to die.
Oh yeah, you felt it.
You knew it was going to
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
but it wasn't who or how or where or why you thought.
No.
And when it happened, bro, it was like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a gut punch because some of these characters, if you like Game of Thrones, if you like the part of Game of Thrones where like you fall in love with characters and the story is so complex and interwoven and people will die in really weird ways, random things will happen. If you like that kind of storytelling element, take away the medieval stuff. If you like that story element, but you want it in like a Star Wars kind of a vibe with some real gnarly like extremes in that area, real like progressive societies and everything, like that's the book for you. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, 100%.
Crazy good.
Carrie, you keeping up with this one?
I have never read Saga. I am in that same club with Spilio. I have never read it, and it's and I have so many books right now. One time Joe said to me, he's like, I love the idea that I just have a ton of books that I could just read that I haven't read. I have a big old TBR. And I was like, okay, we have a big old TBR. And he has gotten to read the first trade. I have not. He liked it. So I know I'll probably like it based on what he's told me about it. So.
But what my biggest regret in life is that I'll never get to read Saga for the first time again.
Yeah. I read Saga for like 20 something issues and then I just kind of fell out of it. Right. And then when it was coming back, it was Verno, right? Who did the show with me.
He did the catch up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reread those first 20 something issues and I read all the way through 54 and I did it in like an afternoon. Like it was no problem whatsoever. And there's also a compendium you can get of like 1 through 54 for like $60 if you like paperback. But it is, Carrie,
telling
you love Saga's gonna be one of your favorite comics.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, I bet. Based on what I've heard, I know that Jen from Comics Will Break Your Heart.
Oh, she's great.
Speaks very highly of it. Mars. I remember listening to them talk about it, and Joe has talked about it. My boyfriend has talked about it because actually he mentioned in the chat he read the first trade of Saga because he got it for like, I think he said he got it for Christmas. He actually got it from me. I bought it for him, and I just haven't read it yet. That's
one of those Christmas presents where you give it to your partner and you're like, yeah, can I borrow that?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I bought it for you.
Yeah, go on.
But I'm going to read it, right?
Yeah, and the thing is I've succeeded, and we've succeeded on getting each other to read different things. Like I think one of my greatest feats and greatest wins has been getting him to read Punk Rock Jesus. I was trying for so long, and I was like, you can't even, like, this is so up your alley, and he finally read it. And I remember he loved it. So now I have to reciprocate and read freaking Saga, I guess. So
yeah, you do.
But it's the quickest, fastest, most enjoyable read. When we prepped for Verno's show, like Robbie was saying with Jennifer, I reread all 55 issues in like 2 weeks on top of my weekly stuff because it was just it's just amazing. There's very few comics I've ever read in my life that are as good as that.
I'm going to break kayfabe real quick. I said I read it in an afternoon. I read it over like two afternoons, but I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. You know,
guys, we only have so many hours in the day. You know,
we all have the same amount. We all have the same amount. Carrie, sleep when you're dead. That's what happens, right?
That's right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says,
"Come on, guys. We're in our 40s now. It is not sleep when you're dead. It is you sleep when you sleep."
I get what you're saying.
And a lot of times that sleep gets interrupted with having to take pee breaks.
Well,
so
it's the best part of my night.
Arnold Schwarzenegger said, sleep 6 hours a night at most. And if that's not good enough, sleep faster. Manny, you reading Saga?
Not a drop. Well, here's the deal.
Damn,
no, let me take you back. Let me take you back.
I gotta rethink this whole panel.
There was a time in my life, right? Freak a Leak was on the radio. Fat Joe was telling me to lean back. And you know, there were some great films. There were some great films out. One of them was called Napoleon Dynamite. And everyone kept telling me how much they loved that fucking movie and how great it was. and I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and I hate that fucking movie. It is so stupid.
I swear to God, Manny. I swear to any
Jesus.
God, if you fucking compare Napoleon Dynamite with Saga again, you're fucking done.
My
You're
fear,
already on the fucking
my
Page Master bullshit. So like it's over. Like you'll be done, bro.
my fear is I'm going to read this book, and everyone's gonna be quoting it, and I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I don't know, some shit happened. There was a llama, and they fucking danced at the end. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. All right, and I bought the DVD. I thought there was something wrong with me. I bought the DVD to watch it again. That movie sucks. All right, I don't.
It's all about the tetherball.
So, oh gosh. Oh,
at least you got that. At least you got that.
Can't do it. I can't do it. So that being said, I don't know. I'll pick it up at some point. Check it out.
Thank you, Spillio. Appreciate that. I don't like Napoleon Dynamite either. But there's a thing with comedies, especially, right? Where like when a comedy hits and it hits big, and if you don't watch it till years later, you've had it hyped so much that when you watch it, you're like, same thing happened to me with Anchorman. Like I finally watched Anchorman. I was like, that's it.
Yeah,
but it's like of the moment. Like if I watched The Hangover 10 years later, I wouldn't think it was funny, right? But old school is funny no matter what time you fucking watch it. I'm just going to say that, okay? Road Trip 2, as well as Police Academy 2. By the way, we're starting.
Is that First Assignment?
Yeah.
Because I prefer Citizens on Patrol.
Yeah, that's 3. I like that one too. Like here, I'm gonna let you guys know a little secret. Don't tell anybody, okay? We're opening the 2024 PCP Movie Night season with the Police Academy franchise review. Okay.
Yes.
I'm really excited. I haven't seen those movies since I was fucking kid. Even then, I hated Mission Impossible.
I think they're all on HBO Max.
That's what I heard. That's why I was like, let's fucking do it. Let's just fucking do it,
dude.
I think I found a DVD set for like $20. I think I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna cover the cartoon series then on that channel.
I have some of the action figures, man. Oh my God.
Do too.
I unironically love the Police Academy movies, especially the character of Tackleberry.
Yes. Tackleberry's fucking great. All right. We're done talking about Saga. We're moving on to Police Academy now, right? All right.
Yes.
Nick Barucci, if you're watching, I got an idea for a Police Academy comic book. Find out who has the license.
Dude, right. I got a 5-year plan for Captain Planet. He needs to get on that shit. All right.
I don't know. You're gonna have to compete with David Papose on that one. Dude,
I just heard 2 pitches for freaking Hanna-Barbera universe, and neither one of them included Captain Planet. I was
bullshit, man.
Okay, so I missed. I've been meaning to go back and watch your video on that one. Was there one for Yogi?
Kind of. I feel like that part of the pitch is grasping. Like he knew he was losing the audience because on Pitch Battle they vote live, and I think for like they felt they were losing, and they're like, "We're gonna throw Yogi in here," and I was like, "It doesn't make sense at all structurally." I was pissed. But yes, there is some Yogi in there. There is some Yogi in there.
Yogi was my jam.
Saga was Nick's pick, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course it was, because only me and Nick have fucking read it. Thanks all for being prepared for this show.
One of the top 3 comics ever.
I read Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 109. Did y'all read that? I think
nobody
not.
Else read that. I gave up on Power Rangers 9 issues ago, brother.
Dude, Kaya's back, Draken's back. Fucking an evil Green Ranger and Rita.
You're putting me to fucking sleep. It's the same goddamn shit, man.
Zed gets a morpher now, and he kind of just looks like Zed again.
Was he?
I only did Power Rangers when I was in high school, and I only watched it because I thought the Green Ranger was hot. So
Green Ranger was hot. Like 100%. He got hotter when he was the White Ranger because then he had that full-on ponytail thing going on.
Jason David Frank was never hotter than in Dimensions in Danger. All right. That was because he was a grown man ass hot. That's what I liked about it.
Plus, is that the one where he has the dream sequence where he has to fight against like his Zeo form?
It's not a dream sequence. They couldn't use Lord Draken, I'm sure, because they would have boom or something. But so what they did was they were like, there's an evil robot version of Tommy. And that one can turn into different versions.
Okay.
But no, you are there is an episode where he does fight his Zeo version. He fights all his versions again.
So he fights the evil robot us's?
Yes, he does. I don't
All
have
right.
a joke for that. I really wanted
All
to
right,
go
well,
somewhere.
let's tone down the jokes real quick because I want to get serious for just a moment. Just a moment. Then we can continue having some fun. But Jason David Frank, not only was he hot, but it was devastating to me when we lost JDF this year, right? We also this week lost 2 valued members of our community, Skip and Tosh and Empire Comics. Just want to take a moment and have a moment of silence for their absence because they were in my chats and we're going to miss them. They were fantastic people, y'all. All right, Carrie, now I feel really bad. But now it's time for you to talk about your next book that you would like to highlight because our friends that we lose, they would want us to continue sharing our love, right?
And here's the thing. What I know about Skip, he was very into indie comics. Talked about him a lot whenever you saw him on anyone's programming, and he was always an advocate for indie books. So let's pick up an indie book for my next one. Let's go with Queen of Swords #1 from Vault Comics. This is spinning out of Barbaric. Who doesn't love badass women with big ass swords? Like,
because if you don't, get the fuck out of here, right? I mean, like, who does it?
Deadheart is freaking awesome. She is this female barbarian, and came back from hell, and she has a big ass sword that is imbued with the spirit of Gabar, who was one of her rivals in hell. And I love it because he's like all like sexist and everything like that. And he's just like, you're not going to be all that great. You're not, what makes you think you're going to be able to do this? And then she starts fighting with him with the sword that he's imbued with. And he's like trying to fight, loving it. And he's like, I love this. No, wait, I don't. And throughout the whole book. And I love the dynamic between her and the sword. And there's even the 2 others that she's traveling with. The going back and getting the flashbacks, kind of explaining where the sorcerer came from and what they're doing and who they are and who they're related to. Like technically the person that Deadheart is looking to kill is this chick's sister, but she knows her sister's no good. And she kind of keeps that quiet for a while. And you have this other character that was like, I don't trust you. She doesn't trust the sorcerer, but you see this actual, like by the end, her softening to the sorcerer. Because the sorcerer kind of goes ahead and lets everyone in and lets them know who she is. But Deadheart is just badass and wonderful. And I love inanimate objects that talk. I mean, it's right up there with, if you're reading the regular Barbaric line, it's right up there with Axe. The axe that gets drunk off of human blood or anything blood, any blood. And then you have this sword that's like just wisecracking asshole. And I love it.
I really like Queen of Swords. What I'm liking about what Michael's doing with this book, the writer, Michael Morisi, is he sold us on that first Barbaric series with the character of Owen and Axe, right? And then you introduce Soren and all that. And as the series has progressed, he's introducing more. And what I love is that they're developing those characters outside of Owen right now.
Yes.
Right? And I love that they're doing that. And it's through developing these characters outside of Owen. And even in the last arc, Hell to Pay, where you had Owen separated from some of these characters, right? You're able to also explore these characters, but also build this world out further. And Michael Morisi is a mastermind when it comes to world building. He's a mastermind when it comes to character work. Just look at Wasted Space, which is like the greatest comic book of the last 10 years outside of like Ice Cream Man and maybe 20th Century Men or something like that. Like, it's just such a fucking great book. I absolutely adore everything that Michael and company are doing in the world of barbaric. They promised this was the year of the axe. They have continued to deliver.
Amazing.
Annie, you been reading this one?
I have not, but I haven't read barbaric either. But it sounds super cool.
Oh.
You know, here's the thing. It's one of those things where it's like, if you haven't read any parts of the barbaric, as long as you can like do a Google search and get an idea of what you're dealing with, you could like, you get the moment before where basically she's coming back from hell. She's on a revenge mission, and she has this sword that she got from her old one of her old partners that ended up in hell as well. And the sword talks. Then you can just jump in here. Like, I don't think that you would have much problem. Anyone else that's read it, like if there's anybody in the chat or anything like that, you know, definitely either tell me I'm batshit crazy or tell me I'm right, because I think you could jump in with Queen of Swords and then just kind of go back and like pick up stuff, you know, in the past as you want to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if you do decide to jump in now, you really owe it to yourself to get caught up, though, because it's
yes,
like,
it's one of those things. Yeah, you got to either you can jump in.
Just don't be afraid to jump in. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. What I love is like, I love the amount of, because like her sword's imbued with like the soul, the essence of the person that betrayed him in hell, in barbaric hell to pay. So like he was trying to help her and Owen get out. And then he betrays them, and the monster, the devil essentially that was after them, he ends up getting betrayed or whatever. And like the essence gets in her sword. So like they hate each other. Like there's no reason for them to like each other. But like that's a cool dynamic because she's using the power of the sword and his essence to then slay everybody. And that's the exact same thing we see with Owen and Axe. And Axe is just hilarious anyways. And if I remember correctly, so the story is her, isn't it, like Soren's sister or essentially her sister or something like that?
It's Soren's old friend.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That betrayed her, and I'm sure we're gonna find out more about that betrayal,
because we didn't get into that really in Hell to Pay.
That's the one thing that I think does carry over that you would be lost on if you were just picking this up. It's like you don't
like
really
all the relationships
and the relationships. Yeah, exactly.
Because the other girl was Owen's previous lover in like a one shot we saw before Hell to Pay. I think like she was like the witch or something like that.
There's only been like what 11 or 12 issues of the Barbaric Saga so far, if that. Like there's not much to catch up on.
Maybe a couple one shots in there too. Yeah.
See, I appreciate talking weapon. Bob Hoskins has a sword that's imbued with the soul of Frank Sinatra in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I totally understood that. I didn't need the backstory, so I think I can figure this one out.
There you go. Same thing.
There you go. Nick, you're liking it too, right?
Oh, I've been eating up everything barbaric since the first issue. I'm loving it. I did not pick up this one, so it's on my list though. So I definitely got to check it out.
It's got some great covers too, man. And who doesn't like a chick with a big ass sword? Or just a big. All right. It was a good pick. So that was a round, right?
That was a round.
Fuck. I think we got time for another round before we get to rapid fire. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to pick a book that probably not a lot of y'all have gotten to read. So I'm just going to briefly talk about it real quick. I do have it with me somewhere. Hold on. Hey, y'all just talk amongst yourselves for a second.
No, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey, you guys want to see this real quick? Robbie, we'll fill some time with some Frank Miller.
That's your defend the homestead weapon.
That I was talking to Eric the Stash in the back, and I think he was saying I can build my safe room out of this thing, essentially.
Yes.
So
that's the size of me.
Robbie says I'm kayfabing too hard, which I agree. Go ahead, Robbie. What you got, buddy?
Speaking of kayfabing too hard, I'm going to pick True Crime Funnies, number 1.
Mine's in the mail, brother. Come on.
Oh, good. So this is a brand new book from Jim Rugg, who we're big fans of. Obviously, you can see my copy is signed right there because I got to hang out and chat comics with Jim Rugg. It was great, and I'm a retailer, and let me tell you how awesome Jim Rugg is. So I go talk to him and I'm like, yeah, I met you last year. We chatted for like last year, bruh, I was all over the kayfabe booth. Like, and this year I only made like 3 stops, right? But I had better interactions this year than I did last year where I was fanboying the fuck out. But I was talking to Jim. I was like, I don't know if you remember me, but I run a YouTube channel and I got the comic shop. He goes, yeah, oh yeah, I remember that. Where's your shop? It's like in the South or something. I was like, yeah, it's Alabama. He's like, all right. And so I was like, I got to get True Crime Funnies, and I had to pick up Rambo 3.5 because he had a very small print run that he did of Rambo 3.5.
Yep.
But Jim Rugg debuted this book at Heroes Con. It's now available at his website, jimrugg.com. And it's fucking awesome. But knowing I was a retailer, he gave me a stack of signed book plates for Hulk Grand Design. So Nick, I'm going to send you one. Okay. And he gave me a stack. So I've already been giving them out to people who have bought the book and people who are going to buy the book. And he sold me multiple copies of this at cost so I could sell it at my shop. Guess what? We're sold out.
I bet.
Because people love Jim Rugg. Because Jim Rugg's awesome. What this is an anthology series of several true crime stories done in comic book form with masterful artwork, coloring, lettering, everything, writing from Jim Rugg. Look at that panel right there. Look at that.
So this is actual true stories.
These are actual true stories. 2 of them involve wrestlers, which is no surprise. And Jim Rugg loves to switch up styles. And when it needs to get violent, it gets very violent. And Jim Rugg is a master. If you've never read any of his work, read Street Angel 100%. Second story, it's a black and white story about the very first wrestling match, the very first professional wrestler, because Jim and Ed are big into wrestling, hence the name Cartoonist Kayfabe. And then the third story is about Dusty Rhodes.
What?
Great too, yeah.
The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes?
Yep, it's when Andy Warhol and Dusty Rhodes, the dream team. And it's a 2-pager that's on the front and the back cover and the back, whatever. So you get 3 stories here of varying lengths with different styles. It all works. It's all great. So go to jimrugg.com and pick up your first issue collector's item of True Crime Funnies #1, because this shit slaps. And yeah, you want to know the story of Andy Warhol meeting Dusty Rhodes, right? You want to know that story. It's good stuff.
I'm hoping that the Andy Warhol doesn't annoy me too much, because typically Andy Warhol annoys me.
It's just two pages, but it's really funny. But Klondike Combat, like, look at that cool cover. It's like an old EC book, right? Super fun, super cool. And Jim Rugg, just such a great dude. And getting to sit there and bitch with him about Marvel, how they don't have perennial titles they like to keep on bookshelves, and how dumb that is, and how they're just giving away money. Man, that was a great conversation. So thank you, Jim, if you're watching. Really do appreciate it. Anybody else read this one? No. All right, moving on. Manny. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm glad yours is on the way. Manny, what you got?
Oh, dude, you know what? I didn't throw the picture up, so I'm just gonna say it and I'll throw it up in a minute here. Something Epic issue #2. I thought was really freaking good. I'm loving Something Epic. Normally I'd have to deduct points for giving me a whole page of just fucking text on a black background, but I'm gonna let it slide because it was so emotionally impactful. I like what's going on with the kid, right? That's the heartstring stuff. That's the meat and the potatoes. But there was a side dish in here where we had an American superhero fighting a manga character. Are they called superheroes? I can't just call it a manga, right? That's not correct. But he's fighting that dude, and Vegeta. They're talking, Vegeta. They're talking about an island and how like it was one way, and now the manga people have taken it over. And I feel that because every time I walk into fucking Barnes and Noble, the fucking graphic novel section is like this big. And I'm not a nationalist guy. I'm an anarchist, guys. And I get pissed. I'm like, damn it, where's all the American comics? I sound like a red stater when I go into Barnes and Noble. And anyway, my point is this. That's a fucking interesting development, right? And it's snuck in there under all of the heartfelt shit. The artwork continues to shine. And I love it. I absolutely love Something Epic.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the book too. Zyman Kudronsky taking the step to do his own thing. It's a story filled with imagination. The one criticism I had about issue 1 was that it got a little overly verbose. Did that criticism ease up on issue number 2? No, not at all. But it is gorgeous. And the way that Kudronsky, we have come to take his style for granted. It's like you read a Kudronsky book, whether it's the Penguin series he did back in the day with Greg Hurwitz, I believe, or whether it's something like Town Called Terror. Okay, I've seen this guy's work. I get it. I know what it's going to be. No. He's stretching himself artistically so much in this. I do wish that he had some help on like a dialogue pass. You know, like when Mike Mignola first went out on his own to do his own thing, he brought in John Byrne. You know what I'm saying? And I just think he needs somebody to just do a dialogue pass, be like, maybe Joe Corallo needs to call Mr. Kudronsky up and be like, we can cut this. We can leave this out. Let's not take advantage of the audience. Like, let's not take them for granted. They can understand some of these things. That's the only problem I have with this book. Is it a deal breaker for me? No. I made it through years of Chris Claremont fucking writing.
Right.
So like, it's okay. It's not the amount of words, right? It's not the length, it's the pace, right? Same thing with movies, same thing with the verbosity of comic books. I hate it. I hear this so many times. Too many words in this comic. Too many words. All right. It's not about how many words. It's about how you use them. Because you know who uses a lot of words? Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman. Oh, did I just name 3 of the greatest comic book writers of all time? Yeah. All right. Let's go very normie and muggle. Stan Lee. Does he use a lot of fucking words? Yeah. He sure fucking does. Tom King. Does he use a lot of words? Yeah. But he used to be criticized for using too little words. And now he's really overcorrected. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it does get a bit stiff in the dialogue, but the art, the imagination, what the story is actually telling us about how our fictions that we create are actually real and affect things, that's right up my fucking alley. And I'm here for it because I'd rather see an artist do something on their own that's imaginative and creative and stretching their talents that might just be a bit clunky in the actual scripting than any just jobber bullshit that we're getting from Marvel or DC or even some of the fucking weak ass indies coming out right now. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but maybe I just love Simon Kudronsky and that God damn it, I'm doing my own fucking thing. Kind of, I love that. I love it for him, and I think it's great. What about you, Nick? What do you think?
Oh, I love this book. I think it was my pick of the week it came out, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I think you touched on like amount of words versus their usage and their meaning and things like that. And this is definitely a book where I'm like, when I turn the page, I felt like, oh my God, there's lots of dialogue here. I know it's going to be worth it. You know, I'm not going to get to the end and go, oh God, he didn't need that whole paragraph in here, because it's a very emotional book. There's a lot packed into here. He's like exploring himself. He's exploring his unique way of looking at the world right now. And he's also going through essentially the beginning of the loss of his mother through cancer. And there's the whole first page. I mean, you open the book with this gigantic dump on here, and it's just like, oh my God, what am I about to get into? But by the time you read it, you're like, oh, that was worth it because of the amount of emotion that he was able to pack in here. And he's talking about, like, he says in here, the first time when I read the word cancer, I pictured a happy crab or a lobster playing beach volleyball in the sunshine. Not something that was crawling, that was inside my mom trying to get out or trying to claw its way out. And you read something like that, you're like, Jesus Christ, okay. This is one of those books, man.
It's there.
Yeah, right? It's in here. So like, yes, it's packed, but like it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like he's really giving us a lot, like we said, in the art style, stretching himself, doing some amazing stuff you don't see in any other books. And if you're paying for each word, it's a hell of a bargain just in that. But like the art and everything else is spectacular. So yeah, it's an amazing book. So far, it's great, man.
Carrie, any thoughts? You reading this one?
I am not. Is this 2 issues? I think it's 2 issues deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I as somebody that is not an artist but a writer, it's what's tricky about writing, especially comic books, if you're not an artist, is making sure that you're not putting too much unnecessary words in there. And the problem is if you're not experienced writing comic books and you decide, I'm going to write a comic book today, which is something I've done, you definitely have to fight the urge to be wordy, especially when you've had no problem being wordy before. You fall into the circumstance of am I saying what I'm showing? Because people, if they're reading a comic book, they're not blind. Are my words effectively enhancing what is being seen? And that is a struggle that sometimes people have with that sort of thing. So it sounds like this is probably something that would be a good idea for me to take a look at, just for structure wise.
I think that page, that 2-page spread, the one that's like all of the words in the English language, what works with about that spread is that it's a quiet moment where he's sleeping on a hospital, one of them little couch cot things, and his mom's in a hospital bed, and you're reading what's going on in the kid's thoughts. And I think that's why you can continue to pull. It pulls at you, and graphically it works because it's all the text wraps this way and the artwork is there. So you end with the kid on the bed, and that's where the poignant part about being creators and stuff like it works so well.
I don't know who the letterer is on this book, but one of the things that really will help is the placement of lettering, right? And now I do think there are times where it's just maybe too much information that is shown visually, that just because like Nick was pointing out, there are moments where the wordage, like the use of the language is so profound, right? But then there's just a kind of a lot of fluff, right? And I think it's just something that will iron out as Kudronsky gets more comfortable doing his own work, right? But like one of the things that benefited Chris Claremont's long X-Men run was Tom Warzikowski. Like Tom Warzikowski knows how to kind of take these things and break them up in a way and not clutter the artwork. And that's something at least that Zyman's able to do, is like know where his artwork is. But there are moments where I'm like, bro, this big block of fucking a paragraph,
literally,
it pulls away from your composition.
Yeah.
Right. Then there are moments where it works, where it's like you said, wrapping around and this kind of shit. Right. Yeah. But there are moments too where it just kind of, and it sticks out because his art can be very dark sometimes. And those caption boxes will be very big and large and very bright and white, Yeah. And so there's some things that I would suggest, and I'm only saying this because I think this book is almost goddamn perfect. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's that subject material. It is that this book goes deep, and it's not just, I mentioned it's about imagination, but the shit with the cancer and the mom, and this book makes you feel. It's really fucking good. And we need to support this shit because, and no flack to people who just solely write comics, because some of my favorite people in this industry are just solely writers. Right. Mm-hmm. But God damn it, if you can draw a comic, try to do it on your own. Mm-hmm. Because then there's less cooks in that kitchen. And nowhere, Jim Rugg says this all the time, doesn't he, Nick? Nowhere do you get a more direct line to the thoughts and the ideas that someone's trying to convey than when one person's doing a comic all by themselves.
Yeah. Self-published.
Exactly. Yep. So just Kudronsky, if you're watching, keep fucking doing it. We love it.
Oh, yeah. If you can self-publish, like if you're a person that your purpose is just to get the shit out there, and it doesn't matter, get the shit out there, and it doesn't matter how much you get back, your return on investment is basically the fact that somebody might read it, like self-publish. If you've got the ability, do it. Because if you wait around for someone else to take notice in this industry, and it's not just in comic books, but in writing as a whole, if you're waiting for someone else to, take some kind of interest just because they're looking to make more money, like a publishing house, you're going to be waiting forever. And you could be telling us the most epic thing in the world.
There's something super cathartic about what he's writing too. I feel like the mom dying of cancer is something personal experience that he's writing from.
Yeah.
And I think he's like, yeah, I need to get this out of me. So I'm going to write all of this text in there. I think that's part of it. And he's like, yeah, he's like, dude, I got to get these emotions out. And they're like, dude, are you okay? This is really deep. And he's like, oh, by the way, Vegeta's going to fight Black Bolt for like 3 pages. And like, oh, that sounds like, it's like he deflects the emotional trauma by just,
because as human beings, we deflect the emotional drama, because I mean, especially because we're all of that age where we grew up and we were products of our parents, and our parents were products of their parents, where you get a lot of the don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about kind of thing. Or, why are you crying? What, it's actually feeling something outwardly and in public possibly is frowned upon. So you have to find some way to deflect and be like, for a kid or anyone, what's the best way to deflect, but just fall into something that's pop culture.
There's a Peter Parker Spider-Man annual from 1998 that is god awful that I just love. And it's because there was a day in my life where I lost 2 aunts, a cousin, and a brother in a car accident, right? And my brother was 5 years old, right? And so it was a very tragic moment in my life. And one of the comforts that I remember from that week is watching the last episode of Seinfeld. That's why I still defend the last episode of Seinfeld, because it gave me relief, right? Yep. And sitting down and reading a stack of comics. And one of them was this 1998 Peter Parker Spider-Man annual that, y'all, it sucks. But like, I have that book still. And every time I see it come through my shop, it just makes me feel comfort, if that makes sense. And sometimes that deflection is the fiction in our lives, right? Mm-hmm. Damn, I gotta reach out to Simon, because like he shares our shit on Instagram. He seems like a super cool dude. Yep. And when Cartoonist Kayfabe was doing their Kayfabe-tober, I was like, fuck, I'm supposed to do Spawn today. I have no time. I did a quick Spawn on a fucking piece of cardboard, and he liked it. He was like my first like on it. And I was like, does he think I'm a real artist? Because I don't want him to get the wrong impression. Anyway.
I think he'd be totally down. He's a friend of the IG, man. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, Simon, if you're watching, come check us out.
I'll pull some
talked
strings,
mad
Robbie.
shit about Town Called Terror. So
I love Town Called Terror, bro.
I love the artwork.
Great, but this is a whole different.
I love the artwork.
Yeah.
Nothing fucking happens in Town Called Terror.
Dude. I was just like, I did 30 Days of Night. I've gotten my payday, bro. I'll do whatever the fuck I want now.
So what's really strange about like the comic book community versus like booktube, like regular booktube, is that like reviewers don't want creators in review spaces. They're like, no, stay out of my reviews because they're not for you. But us in the comic book community, we're like, I wonder if this guy's watching. That would be really cool if he was watching. And, like
I have the opposite, Carrie, because I go, oh, fuck, I hope they didn't watch.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, dude, it happened in Orlando. Bueller's like, hey, man, let me introduce you to this guy. And I was like, what's his name? He's like, told me. I was like, okay, what has he done? He told me the book he did. I was like, bro, I just trashed that book. Like, I don't want to go meet this guy. And then like Spilio wanted me to go meet Emma Kubert. And I'm like, bruh, Stoneheart and Pandora, I wrecked in my reviews. I'm so nervous. I was like, I don't want them to watch.
Dude, I think it took a little while for Rom to start liking my stuff again, because like I was reviewing Venom, and for some reason my YouTube short, like the thumbnail, because at the time you couldn't pick your own thumbnail, was just my face, and the caption said, "I won't say I got swindled," and I'm like, oh shit.
Bro,
and then he liked it, and then he didn't like shit for like 6 months.
I get that, dude. When Rom reached out to me earlier this year, he's like, "Hey, I want to come back on the channel, man, have a conversation. It's been a while. You haven't like, I thought you were gonna ask me back on, and I was like, I've been talking shit about Venom and Carnage.
That's why you just don't read them.
At that point, I started liking Carnage again, right? And I have always said I like Rom's part of Venom, but I also know that him and Alex and them are like homies with Al. And Al, I love you. I mean, why are you blocked me on Twitter? Like, who am I following? Who do I have to unfollow? To like what's wrong with me?
Probably me. I send him messages criticizing this shit. But no, the last 2 issues of Venom were fucking good. Al Ewing is doing pretty well.
I didn't read him
in issue 20.
When Rom officially told me, "Oh, dude, I'm already done with the symbiotes," I was like, "Well, then I am."
How done are you? Because then that means we don't have to talk about it at all.
He's got one more issue of Carnage coming out, but he had already finished that when that shit came out. But I think Carnage has become a good book.
Good.
Oh, dude, Alex Packman fucking killed it.
Yeah, you had to have the patience with Rom's Carnage. Like, it did take 10 issues to really. It actually took about 7 or 8 issues to really get to the point. And now Alex came in, fucking finished that job immensely well, working with Cody, like I cannot believe Marvel did a crossover that was really compelling and exciting and good, right?
But it felt like there was definitely a difference between because I started the Ron V / Ewing run of Venom, and I didn't finish it. I dropped out after a few issues. But I think there was a definite difference between the style of writing in Venom versus what you see anywhere else with Rom V.
Well, and I would also say that like Rom's Catwoman, which I love, is different than his Swamp Thing.
It is.
Rom knows what to do, and like Rom is a very clever, fucking smart dude, and Rom knows when he needs to give 120. And that's his creator-owned work. And Rom's talked to us many times on this channel live about how it's the creator-owned stuff that we put everything in. But the other stuff is filling out this honor of being able to partake in the mythology, the ongoing mythology of these things. So when he's doing a Catwoman book,
if he's not putting 100% into things like Swamp Thing and Catwoman, his Catwoman run was just insane.
Rom's so smart because he looks at, say, something like Swamp Thing and he's like, this is going to be compared to Alan Moore.
Right. Got to step up.
He can be compared to Alan Moore. It was that freaking good.
Oh, of course it was.
Because in my Catwoman run, it's going to be compared. The best Catwoman run is Darwin Cook and Ed Brubaker. But he's like, but for the most part, it might be compared to Jim Ballant. So maybe I can give 70% on Catwoman.
And it's still,
you know what I'm saying? But then, like, when he does something like Mini Deaths of Layla Starr, that's better than anything he's done at DC or Marvel. Like, period. And Rare Flavors, y'all, just wait. Y'all gonna like? I haven't read it either. I haven't read it either. Rom.
I remember just sitting there reading the Catwoman run because I love Catwoman, and just sitting there and reading it, and just. It would end, and then I'd be sitting there and I'd be like walking around the apartment like, what the hell? Oh my God, I love this fucking book. And then I read Swamp Thing and I'm the same way. And it's just, if he's not putting 100% into that, I don't even know, because it feels like he is.
Taylor, what if The Vigil is actually a sneaky reboot of the idea that Planetary was based on? And trust me, this is something I am privy to. I have read Tom's treatment of The Vigil, the 6 issues, right? It's awesome. Like, when you get to the end of this, you're going to be like, fuck.
Well, it's at least only 2 issues in, and it's it's amazing. So
all right, we just went on this tangent about Rom V. Where were we before? Something
epic. That's why I left it up.
All right.
I mean, I could continue the tangent if we want to continue it because it's worthy of continuing.
Nick, what's another book you want to highlight, brother?
We just spent a lot of time on Rom V, and so let's keep the train going, guys. Let's keep the train going. We're going to talk about Detective Comics.
Yes.
Oh shit, wrong one.
We could talk about the Vigil issue number. No, we could talk about Detective Comics issue.
Let's.
1070. What is this? 1073. I can never remember the issue number on Detective Comics. It's just too
It's,
damn
once it
high.
gets past 1,000, bro, who gives a shit?
Who cares? It's
You know what I'm
73.
saying? Like,
Who cares? It's just
Detective Comics. Fucking who gives a shit? Like, it is what it is.
Who's drawing this book? We have two different
Reese
people. I think
and
Ivan and Suduka.
Yeah.
Suduka. In inking, coloring, everything. Brad Anderson is on the colors. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artwork inside this book. There's really weird shifts where you have moments where you're outside and you're seeing like really close-up shots of like people rescuing people, Nightwing's in the crowd trying to rescue people. And I'll get into like the premise a little bit more here. But then you have these moments where Batman's fighting like this this like mystical almost character, this like godlike character in a dungeon. They're going to take over this Gotham City. There's bombs everywhere. There's tripwires everywhere. There's this big mythological story in the background about who this family is and how they rose to power and the betrayals and Ra's al Ghul and all this crazy stuff going on. Like, do I understand that whole backstory and the betrayals and all that? No, not necessarily. I might need to go back and actually read some of that stuff again and revisit it. But like, it doesn't matter because the amount of like, man, just like the amount of beauty that he's pulling through into the story, it just shows you the impact that this family's making on Gotham and how high the stakes actually are. And it's nothing that we really haven't seen before. I mean, Gotham's being taken over by a mysterious, masked, ancient family that has roots in this area anyways, in a way. And Batman's teaming up with the Bat family to take, back power, right? To stop this gigantic, tragedy from happening. But like, it's the way that Rom's telling this story. It's just a crazy good way of doing that. And you almost hear, I was listening to Klaus Janson talk about how comic books don't have the luxury of having like music or some kind of sound effects or anything like that inside of it. And we've mentioned this several times, but I think it's a very important piece of this story. You hear music, you hear the sound effects, you hear that orchestra, you feel that build and that tension building inside the story. And it's just a perfect example of how mediums can cross and your imagination can completely get in the book in a way that like it creates other sensories, right? It's beautifully, beautifully done. Very, very well drawn, very atmospheric. We had the same kind of conversation with Something Epic, and we talked about it with some other books too, just like the art and everything pulling you completely into the book. This is definitely a story that does that. And Rom's at his best, man. Here too. I think we're getting that 110% inside of Detective Comics. And everybody should be reading this one because it's crazy good.
So Rom knows that when he writes Catwoman, he's going to be compared to Jim Ballant at the worst, though, like Ed Brubaker and Darwin Cook, right? But like he knows when he does Swamp Thing, it's going to be compared to Alan Moore. He knows when he does Batman, it's going to be compared to every comic of all time because it's Batman. It's one of the biggest things out there, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mentioned how he can like shift and mold. He can do he can do jobber work. Like his Catwoman run is jobber work. Well, the Venom Carnage stuff is more like
that's jobber work,
right? That's jobber work, but even that is elevated from like a lot of the other shit. You know what I'm saying? That we're getting out there. That's just like the random ass Marvel and DC series that you can tell that they don't fully get behind. You know what I'm saying? That they don't push or whatnot.
Yes.
Like just it's almost like it's like to keep a brand, like they got to publish this to keep the rights of this title or something. I don't fucking know. Rom knows that with Detective, he's doing a Batman story. He knows he's not doing the main Batman story. So he doesn't have to do anything super significant. He doesn't have to try to wow people with Bane's back and he's going to fucking break Alfred's neck. He doesn't have to like wow people with like, Bane's new in town. He's going to break Batman's back. He doesn't have to do that. He knows that Double Dip Chip has that on him, right? So he's like, fuck, I'm on Detective Comics. Detective Comics is the one where it can be a little bit more artsy. He also, first of all, Rom is committed to doing shorter arcs lately. Like he's told us, like, I want to do like 4 or 5, 6 issue stories and be done. He goes, but the one exception is Detective. I got this plotted out. And I asked him, I was like, bro, like, it seems like it's structured like an opera. He's like, 100%. There's an intermission. There's this. There's the prologue. There's the epilogue. Like he's like, I know exactly where this run is, and I've known for a very long time. One of the first times we had Rom on the show, we were talking about rhythm and the importance of music. And hopefully Radio Apocalypse will be something that eventually finishes. But that's a very like obvious exercise in using music to affect the rhythm of a comic book, right? Rom loves music. We were talking to him about Blue and Green. And he's like, I wanted to capture the rhythm and the vibe and the feel of jazz music. I love how music will affect rhythm in the human brain. He goes, comics are the same thing, but they do it visually. The way we use the page turn, the way we use the composition, how many panels, why, where, or are we using a 6, 8, 9 panel grid? Are we using verticals? Or are we splashing it out? What are we doing? What effect are we trying to produce? How are we trying to affect tempo and rhythm? You know who else did that? Will Eisner. Frank Miller.
I was going to say Frank Miller.
Exactly. Why does Frank Miller use a 16-panel grid in Dark Knight Returns? Because nobody else did it. And it was a way to affect a certain tempo that he wanted. Look at Sin City. Yeah. Why is it so big, wide, and open?
They can control the speed and the interaction and the storytelling. Yeah.
Why do people love manga? Because it's a quick read. Why? Because the art is intentionally crafted. The story is intentionally crafted to produce a certain rhythm of reading. When people can affect the rhythm of a comic book, because we, as the audience, have more choice over how slow or quick we read a comic book.
Yeah.
A movie's the same pace no matter what. A song's going to be the same length no matter what. But a comic book, we can actually choose to slow down or speed up. But when the creator actively grabs us and I no longer have control of that, that's a masterful fucking creator. That's Jack Kirby. That's Mobius. Mobius is a dude, Manny, by the way.
Not Morbius. There's no R.
Yeah. I was like,
that's Jack Kirby. That's Mobius. That's Atomo. That's Will Eisner. That's Frank Miller. Like, that's Daniel Warren Johnson. That's fucking amazing.
That's Rom V.
Rom does that. He is an artist, but Rom does that as a fucking writer.
Yeah.
And he does it with two artists that have two completely different styles almost every fucking issue. But he knows which artists are coming up on which book. It's meticulously planned. It's not like, fuck, Ivan can't get these pages in, call Goran. No, he already knew these pages were for him. These pages were for him. He's able to encapsulate that in. As an artist, he has the advantage of being able to understand how their styles will work and contrast. Holy shit. Detective Comics is operatic, tragic, beautiful, bouncy. And another thing I think that Rom knows, and I haven't talked to him about this, everybody who reads a Batman comic, for the most part, has Batman music in their head. It is ingrained in our head from those Danny Elfman scores and all that shit. To
a point.
And if you're half my age, you remember bum, bum. They just needed 2 notes for Dark Knight, right? But you get, there's music, and like it goes, that sounds like Batman music. So Rom's able to take that and play with that structurally. And just, it's Detective Comics. Some say a slow burn. Some say it's okay. Nothing we haven't seen before. Y'all are right, maybe. But like, this is masterclass shit on a Batman book. And it's happening right before our eyes. And it's like the government acknowledging UFOs exist and nobody gives a shit. Like, y'all, Detective Comics should totally be out selling double dip chip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for fuck's sake, yes.
I'm sorry. Gary, what do you think about Detective?
This is taking a book that is, like you said, it's the secondary Bat book, and taking it, something that just, some people read and some people don't, and maybe they jump in and out of it. And it's taking it and it's making it art, not like just like, yeah, there's art on the page and people are drawing stuff and there's words. No, it is like, it's just like, holy shit. Every time you freaking read it. And it's just, this guy is special. This guy is just like, how else can you fucking put it? He's just special. He is just, I don't know where he came from or where he's going, but I hope it's just keep on freaking writing, buddy, because this is he takes something that is just there and makes it extraordinary.
Yep.
And that's why, like, when somebody says that he's possibly not putting 110 or 120 or whatever % into something like this, it's just like, well, you could have fooled me, because especially with something like this, I am somebody that I love the concept of using different forms of expression and using that as inspiration. So like music in particular, like I definitely cue into this whole music thing and this operatic thing, and the music that he's obviously inspired a lot in his writing by music, obviously, like whether it's by form, function, or just this is the playlist I listened to when I wrote this.
Yeah.
This is what inspired what is on the page.
Yeah.
It's just masterclass. Like when you did the interview with him, it was like a masterclass in writing, not just comic books, but anything.
Fuck yeah. He also has the sexiest hair in this industry.
Oh my goodness.
Like 100%.
Jeez.
Like, and Manny, I just want to point out that time we had a few creators on your channel. Ron was there. And you remember I was like, this was before his Carnage run. I was like, bro, you're doing Carnage? This is so awesome. I was like, and he was like, I don't have to read every Carnage book. I was like, are you sure? Because there's a Carnage book where like he sent himself through the fucking internet. Have you been reading Carnage?
Yes, I loved it. I was like, oh, I think I have a still from that fucking issue where Carnage goes through the internet. Oh, when I talked about what Alex is doing.
Put that up with like what I said, and I'm like, did I give that? Did I point that Carnage Unleashed series to Ron? And I was like, Carnage through the internet.
I like this.
Or maybe Ron was like, that sounds stupid, but Alex is like, I like that idea. Ron.
Kind of like that.
I think I'm gonna run with it.
What
do you think about Detective Manny?
Oh, I think the 110%, the tank for Rom gets filled when it's a story he wants to tell, right? Like Venom, I think he had an idea. He's like, all right, Dylan loses his dad. He's got to deal with the weight of being Venom. What does it mean to inherit the mantle of an anti-hero? I want to talk about that. I want Dylan to have this emotional journey. I'm gonna have this fucking voicemail he's gonna keep listening to.
And then Al's like, I want to fucking do this fucking Doctor Who fucking bullshit where like Venom's being like 8 versions of himself all across the timeline. But
first off, Doctor Who is never bullshit.
He wants to do this timey-wimey stuff. No, but like, he's like, so Rom had to work those elements in, and he's like, this sucks. Like, okay, I fucking hate Applebee's. I hate Applebee's with a fucking passion. Every time I go out to eat with my in-laws, we go to Applebee's, right? That's fucking Al Ewing in the Venom office. Like Rom's like, really? Can we try this? And I was like, fucking Applebee's, Rom. Applebee's. All you can eat riblets. We don't turn that down. 2 for $25 and you get an appetizer? That is the Venom office.
Here's the thing. When you get to Applebee's and you're getting some bullshit that Ron B may be a part of, but you get those fucking wonton tacos and you're like, this is the one thing that y'all excel at. That's the Ron V within Applebee's, is those wonton tacos. Because I got a good friend of mine who I adore and cherish. But God damn it, she loves Applebee's way too fucking much, right? Like
we all
all I ever get there is the chicken Caesar salad. They've never gotten it right.
Dude, I got a steamed steak the last time I was there. What the hell? Look, there was a time when I was in college too, and half-priced apps was all you could afford if you wanted to be fancy.
Sure.
All right, like I get that, but I ain't in college no more. All right,
they do have $5 Long Island iced teas, and I may not be in college, but Rockin Robbie can appreciate a $5 Long Island iced tea.
I think they're 8 now. They fucked it up.
Not in Huntsville, brother. Not in Bama.
Oh,
Oh man.
We may have the Alabama pancake for our chalupas down here, but
Yeah.
and I may have went. And by the way, I just want to let everybody know the volcano menu is back at Taco Bell. Officially, as of today,
Ooh.
it was first introduced in 1996 as a tie-in to the movie
Mhm.
Congo. Hasn't been in production since 2016. Volcano menu is back, and I went to my Taco Bell today. So excited! Or since Strickland, actually. Since Strickland, I bought his lunch though. Sent him to Taco Bell to get me some volcano tacos and burritos, and they were like, "We're out of the burrito." I'm like, "How are you out of the burrito?" It's literally just a
It's the
normal
first day. Yeah.
same sauce. It's the sauce that makes the volcano. Anyway, moving.
Oh, they better have it when I go to, because I didn't even get to try the steak chili verde fries because they've never had the chili verde sauce at our Taco Bell.
That's some bullshit. It's like when they brought back the Mexican pizza, but they weren't ready for it, dude. They're like, we didn't know people loved it so much. No shit.
They were fucking with us. That was Taco Bell's version of Radio Apocalypse. They're like, we're gonna give you a taste. We're
Here
gonna
it is, then we're gonna take it away.
and fucking take it away. God damn.
Everybody loves it.
man.
Fuck you.
I fucking finally got an enchilada for the first time in decades, it feels like, right? And on the way back from Heroes Con, I went to a Taco Bell. I got to order in the fucking little queue thing, and they had the enchilada. It was the size of this fucking pen, and it kind of pissed me off. So anyway, were we talking about Taco Bell now? What were we talking about? Detective?
Detective.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
There you go.
I love the ending. I love how like we're getting those. It's like a really good ending, like a series finale that's gonna end on a cliffhanger. Because it's these little clips. Mr. Freeze, Azrael, like you see all this shit and you're so excited. You're like, oh my god,
Two-Face.
And then Two-Face, and it's over. And now I gotta wait 2 months because of Night Terrors. You know, which by the way is you cause a lot of anxiety, Robbie. You keep talking about 2 months. We gotta wait for Night Terrors, and I'm driving, and I can't. My heart can't take that. It's just like, oh fuck, you're right.
Because it's kind of bullshit, man.
You're right.
And like I like DC. I think DC's making a case for Publisher of the Year right now.
Yep.
I feel like they're making a case to finally usurp Image for me, right? Because like Vault had a year, Boom had a year, then Image had a few years for me. DC's making a case. Then there's this Night Terrors bullshit. I always hate it.
Yeah.
We always Future State, fucking Convergence. No, we don't like it when you interrupt publishing for 2 months for some bullshit. However, our friend Josh is doing it. And here's one thing I will say. I hate the interruption. I think it's bad to kill momentum on books that are building. Action Comics, Superman. These are books that are building right now. Yeah. Don't interrupt them. Right? However, one cool thing is this. Rom, I don't know if he said this on air. I think he did because because Dan said he wasn't supposed to say this yet. But Dan's writing the Night Terrors Detective Comics book, right? That's the intermission. It's planned. It's planned. And if you look at the end of this last issue, which we haven't really talked about the end, where basically Batman is allowing himself to be possessed by Barbados.
Well, he hasn't allowed it yet.
Yeah, but it's going to happen.
It's like they're making it like an inevitability. Like he can always fight it.
It's the end of like Act 1 of the opera, and then we go into intermission. And the intermission is Night Terrors, and it's Dan Waters, and it's intended and planned to do this. I don't think any other book really planned this out. Maybe Philip Kennedy Johnson was like, how many issues till Night Terrors? Okay, I'll wrap it up after 6. Right? But so many books like Superman, which I love. Josh, you're my dude. Oh my God, I can't wait 2 months for the continuation of that, man. Don't kill momentum on a book that's like building.
Especially with how Superman ended.
Oh yeah.
Like that that was another one that just kind of broke my heart a little bit. Because you had this, momentum, like you were saying, and then you have this, man, that just sucked. It was good. It was good. It was good writing. It just sucked, what was happening there. So
it was a gut punch. The other book that did a bad job of going into that was it Green Lantern? Like they hinted it was going in that direction. But they did it like the stupid generic comic book way. It's just like, what's that? Oh, it's some ghost coming. And it's like, cut. It's like, oh, okay, great.
I mean, like there's an example. Green Lantern, 2 issues in. All right, never mind, y'all. Night Terrors,
we're going to stop now.
And dude, as a retailer, how the fuck am I supposed to order these books? Should I order them like based on what the actual title sells? Because half of those people may be like, yeah, I read Green Lantern. Yeah, I read Superman, but I don't give a shit about this. It gives people the opportunity to check out a DC for 2 months. If you let people do that, do they come back? I don't know. We didn't have Doom Patrol this month. Is Doom Patrol still on schedule though? At least like we still have
I
Doom.
hope so.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have Doom Patrol.
And you also have a few books that are starting out.
Yeah.
Presumably, like the Ravenger. Technically just had the 12-issue run of Black Adam end, but now they're going to have Black Adam, Night Terrors. Like, what does that mean for the future of Black Adam? Are they going to jump back into another series of Black Adam, or what are they doing? And then you have the new Ravenger. Is this just going to be for Night Terrors? Why is Ravenger involved all of a sudden? Like,
yeah,
I like the character of Ravenger. Believe me, I'm going to read it, but like,
Manny, any other final thoughts on Detective? Tech, as apparently Rom let me know that in the industry they call it tech.
Oh, I call it the Ix. In my last review, I called it the Ix because it's terrific, operatic, romantic, all the Ix,
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Carrie, your final pick for a book to spotlight fully, and please carry the rest of the panel on.
Okay. All right. Well, I
just gave you full charge of fucking pop culture philosophers, by the way. That's a big deal. All right. So I don't want you to sleep on this.
While you're taking your pee break, I'm going to do my best. Okay.
No, love you. Carry on.
So guys, here for this next pick, here we go.
Yep.
He's my Pied Piper. Look at this cover. This Sean Gordon Murphy cover. Look at this series. This is gorgeous and beautiful and okay, technically it's his story concept, and his wife Katana Collins, Chef's Kiss, is writing it. But we've got Batman White Knight presents Generation Joker. Yowzas, okay? And we've got Clay McCormick on there. We've got the story concept by Sean Murphy, the art by Merker Andafa and Alejandro Sanchez. This is what happens when AI takes over. Because you get two kids going on a joyride with their dead father.
A holographic dead father, right? Or something.
Yeah. Their holographic dead father, joyride with him. I say my Pied Piper because Sean Gordon Murphy is basically what brought me back into comics. Because when I mentioned Punk Rock Jesus earlier, people have been recommending that to me for a while, and I pick it up and I read Punk Rock Jesus. It was Punk Rock Jesus and Kelly Sue DeConnick's Bitch Planet. And then I go back to the shop and I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see this beautifully drawn Harley Quinn in the floppy section. And I'm speaking, of course, about Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn. And I was like, hey, I'll pick this up. And then it was just from that moment on, I was back in and obsessing over comic books was because of this whole entire universe expertly done and put together by this team that's been pretty much solid with a few additions here and there. We've got Mirka Andolfo, coming in on this book. But this team has been pretty solid since day one. And it's it shows that the idea of what do you do if you get a second chance to make that impression on your children? And the Joker has that. Jack has that. You have that. You have the entry of basically what amounts to the Justice League into the Murphyverse. You have Batman dealing with the fact that he wants to be there and he wants to help the kids. He wants to help Harley. However, he's kind of forced into this situation where he's got to be helping with the the alien kid in Kansas, you know, and all of that going on. And you have people that are trying to still get revenge on Jack for when he was the Joker. And the whole issue ends with basically the kids getting a Joker gang to believe that they're the Joker's kids, which they are. And now they're all like, oh, hail Joker's kids, you know. Just on like reading it story-wise and everything like that, it is a lot of fun to read. But then when you get under the surface and you get into what you're feeling when you're reading it, that's when it becomes something entirely elevated. So Manny, are you reading this book?
I read the first issue. I haven't read the second one yet. I like the first issue. It reminds me a lot of Disney and Pixar's Onward, but with Batman. And so that's those are two things that I'm cool with. So totally it's a cool premise. I like the world. Robbie has talked a lot about this White Knight. Beyond the White Knight, he talked a lot about during the weekly reviews and stuff too. And so it sounded interesting, and I figured this was a good jumping on point. And I think it is. I don't know that it's ever been, or I don't know if it'll be top of stack for me, but it's definitely one it's a cool world, it's a cool premise, and I'm enjoying it.
I know that I jumped in to the universe with Harley, with the Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn. That's where I jumped in, and then I went back and I read the other stuff. So I had no problem. I fell in love with it just jumping in. So that shouldn't be a problem. Just understand that there's certain things that just exist in a certain way in this universe, and just roll with it. So like, the first Robin was not Dick Grayson. It was Jason Todd.
Okay.
And that was done pure and simple because he made a mistake.
Oh.
And he ended up just like, okay, well, this mistake, it happened. It got published. So now I got to keep going with it. So Jason Todd is the first Robin rather than Dick Grayson. But
which adds a very interesting dynamic to Jason and Dick's relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. And it makes
totally
Dick a
does.
very different Nightwing.
Yeah.
All right, damn it.
And this series in particular, with the whole, since we have Batman and Harley Quinn as a couple unit in this universe, we have what was supposedly be the Harley Quinn replacement becoming Neo Joker and now becoming something else. Now she's been paired. Marion Drew has been paired with Poison Ivy. So you have that dynamic still. That is a winner for a lot of people. But it's rare that you can be entertaining and then have a message as well. And that's what I love about this. And to be completely honest with you, nobody presents Harley Quinn as good as Sean Gordon Murphy and Katana Collins.
I will agree with that, because when the whole White Knight thing first got, advertised and solicited, they were like, this is the Joker and Harley love story. The Joker Harley love story we've always wanted. And I was like, I never wanted that.
Right.
One of the least interesting things to me about Harley Quinn was her connection to the Joker. Like, there's elements of that I like, but to me, she was just sidekick to the Joker. I didn't get the hype, right? But then there's that episode of the animated series where she goes off on her own. I think that's the first time where she like teams up with Harley, right? Or with Ivy.
Ivy, yes.
And then in the comics, they were able to give her a lot more agency. Like, it's a compelling idea, the whole mad love story, right? And that's great and that's cool. But like, what do we do with the character after that? When they moved that character away from the Joker, they helped evolve that character, but maybe not in the best ways, right?
Sometimes, you are pretty much hit and miss, throughout Harley's history.
Yeah, because they get a little like TNA and objectifying for a while there, and then like
her
Jimmy
origin
and
story. Her origin story says that she slept her way to her PhD. That is her origin story in continuity.
Yeah. I love that. I love the DC Black Label book, Joker, Harley, Criminal Insanity, because they like play that up a little bit, right, in a more nuanced way. And then like Stepan Sejic or however you pronounce his name, like Arlene was able to build up on that. And then Sean Gordon Murphy, Katana Collins, his partner. We had Katana on the channel, right? And we were talking about the Harley book, and she worked on Cherish with our friend Joe. But like
another great series.
Yeah, and she's working on this one. And I didn't give a shit about I didn't want a Joker Harley love story. They gave me one. I didn't want a Harley solo book. They gave me one with beautiful artwork by Matteo Scalera. And they won me over. Like when I was really won over with this, I was won over during White Knight and then Curse the White Knight. But that Harley Quinn series, like, I was like, they're making me really care about Harley Quinn. And then if you ever told me that not only are we going to tell you a true, authentic love story between Jack Napier and Harleen Quinzel, and then we're going to somehow have Harley wind up in a relationship with Bruce.
Not just a relationship. They're freaking married.
Yeah, I would be like, get the fuck out of here.
That dynamic between the two of them, especially in Beyond the White Knight, like when he's basically called to the carpet, like, here you go. Like, this is wow. This is amazing.
Yeah, I think Batman Beyond's a cool idea, but I never like was as connected to it as I was the animated series. As some people that are slightly younger than me really love Batman Beyond. Yeah, man, Beyond the White Knight was like the best interpretation of Batman Beyond I've ever fucking read. Like it was, and Sean Gordon Murphy, when he's the artist, he's an expert draftsman. Nobody draws Batmobiles or Gotham City or the architecture like him. It is beautiful. But then like, who does he bring to come in? He doesn't bring in schlubs. Matteo Scalera, Mirka Andolfo. Like, come on. Let Sean and company continue to develop this world as long as they fucking want. Because every series, whether it's been a main series or a side series, has a moment that wrenches my fucking heart. It's a Saga 65 moment, Nick. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean there.
Everywhere. Like, and sometimes they get a few in. They get a few jabs in. Like, and in particular, like with this issue with Harley finding out that her son has felt the need to reach out to Marion Drew and converse with her via email because he was feeling a little bit ignored because Jackie was being such trouble, which is Harley's other kid. In the Beyond the White Knight, you know, finding out about how Batman is having panic attacks because he's denying himself who he is. And just in Harley Quinn, where she, you know, goes through the circumstance where she has to deal with the fact that one of her beloved hyenas saves her kid and then drops dead.
There are many deaths of like fan favorite characters in this entire saga, but the death of one of those hyenas wrecked me.
Wrecked me so much.
Do not emotionally manipulate me with the death of an animal. God damn it! Like that's so fucked up.
Like animals getting attacked or killed are just such a sticking point with me. It's the reason why I wasn't bringing up Hairball. Like I read that second issue of Hairball and I couldn't. I was bawling because you see this, you know, this character, you know, strangling and drowning her black cat. And all I saw was my little cat.
Yeah.
Someone hurting her.
I've seen enough Italian horror cinema though that
the cat's fine.
They really don't like cats for some reason. season. Like it's weird.
No, they don't.
All right, so Nick, did like Manny? We're selling you on White Knight, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I've read the first issue of Generation Joker. I've got, I just haven't read.
Have you seen the show on YouTube called The Weekly Comic Review? It actually won an award.
I have. I mean, it's pretty good. I like Nick at Night, but
he's been talking about it since day one. So maybe you should pay attention. Nick, are you reading the White Knight stuff?
I read the beginning of the White Knight saga, and then I got into the Harley stuff, and I got a couple issues into that. I don't know why I didn't stick it through. And then I read the first issue of Generation Joker, and I'm like, what the hell's going on in this world, man? Like, it was so weird. I was just like, Batman's with Harley. Who are the two kids? And Joker's he's
a hologram.
A hologram, like driving the kid around the city. Like, this is where me and your mom met at some club.
You missed some stuff.
I'm like, I was like, I can't read this book. I've missed too many things. I need to go backwards before I go forwards.
There are beautiful deluxe edition hardcovers available of all of this that I would highly like. This is something that's this is something DC does better than Marvel. They have perennial books. I was talking about this with your homie Nick, Jim Rugg. Okay. I was talking to him about this. Like, DC has perennial books. We can read Batman Year One. That book was done like 35 years ago. It still hits today.
Yes.
Dark Knight Returns, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, Watchmen, V for Vendetta, the Invisibles, Preacher. These are books Sandman. These are books that still work. That are Starman. These are even superhero books that still work today. Superman, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, All-Star Superman, right? We Three. Grant's JLA, like Marvel didn't. Jim Rugg looks at me and goes, Marvel didn't have these books.
No.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, the best they have is like Infinity Gauntlet and Secret Wars. That's fucking sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if the best fucking perennial book DC had was 0 Hour? That wouldn't be good. That's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, Marvel needs to stretch, man. And that's why having creators like Trad Moore, Jim Rugg, Ed Piscor, having Steve Scrooge, having them come in and doing their own thing. God damn it, Marvel! Somebody, y'all got some ideas? Let Jeff Darrow do 3 issues of something.
Instead of focusing on the action of a situation, focus on the emotion, the human emotion. Yeah, you're gonna reel people in by making stuff get blown up or killing a character that nobody really cares about anyways. You'll rope people in with that, but the thing that's going to make people keep coming back is when you sit there and you're like, what the hell?
You're right. Because like, and you're right 100%. Like, that stuff will bring us in. Like, Sean Gordon Murphy and company are doing that immensely well in the White Knight verse, right? But it goes beyond that, because you could, like, any writer could take the same plot points that Sean Gordon Murphy has developed with Katana and other people. Clay McCormack, I think, is part of the run. Mm-hmm. Like, you could any other writer could come up with those and it wouldn't work. What the difference to me is, Sean Gordon Murphy is someone who loves comics. And you can see that. This isn't something developed to try to get adapted into a movie or a TV series or an animated series or whatnot. This is not him trying to get a job. This is not him trying to get a job somewhere else. This is a dude who loves comics, knows how to make comics, and can take a property like Batman and create something familiar and different at the same time. This is perfect for fans of any Batman movie. This is perfect for fans of any Batman animated series.
If you believe if you believe and understand that especially, like I'm saying, I cannot even stress this enough, that if you worry from time to time when you're reading Harley Quinn and they make her sound dumb, read this, because Harley is one of the smartest people in that whole universe, in the Murphyverse, in the regular DC, like, she is like, I love Harley. We all know I fucking love Harley. Okay.
Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah.
You like Harley Quinn? Nice.
But
did you know I like horror movies? It's obvious, Carrie. Come on.
But like this is absolutely like the one of the best ways to write this character. If you're a Harley fan, you owe it to yourself to read this entire thing. If you're a Batman fan and you don't just love the fact that sometimes he flies around between buildings and throws a batarang at something. You actually like thinking about what is Batman thinking? Why is Batman reacting to all of this the way he does? If you like things that sometimes people don't like to talk about in books, like mental health issues, you're going to want to read this. Yeah. I mean, it's right there in the first series, in the White Knight. It's the Jack Napier becomes Jack Napier from being the Joker because he took medication.
Yeah.
And it's if you take a step back from all comic books having to be just let's blow a bunch of shit up all the time. Yes, I love blowing shit up, believe me. But when you have actual human emotion attached to something that you're ingesting, and you have to sit there and be like affected by something, come on, that's the best thing ever.
And if it's in a DC book, it's going to make Carrie even fucking crazier excited, right?
It's going to. Like, DC does so many things, but like just the quality of their hardcover books, insane. Versus, what you see, like, just coming out of Marvel. Like, I don't know.
All right, we don't want to hate on Marvel here, Gary. Come on, like,
but that's okay. And I've actually been liking some stuff from Marvel, honestly. Yeah, it's happened, guys.
Somebody's making some good decisions. All right, so like an hour ago, or a little over an hour ago, I was like, hey, man, we got time for one more round, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are now, almost 3 hours into the stream. So it's time for rapid fire, and I'm going to do something I've never done. I'm going to do rapid fire first, y'all.
Nice.
Damn.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I'll extract shit off y'all's list for once. Loki number 1, Dan Watters doing Loki.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about any Loki series that comes out, especially after they de-aged him. But like Dan Watters, we were talking about his use of language, Shakespearean, intelligent feeling. Like, I don't know. I feel smarter after reading a Dan Watters book, even when it's Loki. This book was awesome. Another great book from Marvel. Ambassadors number 6. Holy shit. Matteo Scalera. What a fantastic artist. But like, I'm excited for Ambassadors more than I've ever, like, Ambassadors has been okay. I like issue 3 a lot. 6 though, 6 fucking killed it. What a great ending. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World number 6. Jason Aaron, who does that Punisher book that some people don't like, but I love. Jason Aaron doing Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. Could it be any normal, average, interesting boom book? It's developing its own identity and poly representation, so that's super cool. Void Rivals number 1, because it kept a fucking secret, y'all.
Yeah, amazing.
It kept a fucking secret. I can't believe that. Like, I knew about this, like, and I don't know. I think I told some people backstage one day, I was like, I know some shit about this new Robert Kirkman book, and I cannot tell y'all, right? And Robert Kirkman having the rights to do Transformers and G.I. Joe books and create this new shared universe. Why does that matter? Because he's going to get talent behind that. Josh Williamson, our friend, is doing Duke and Cobra Commander, and Daniel Warren Johnson is doing Transformers.
What a time to be alive.
Battle Chasers number 10 for 2 reasons. There hasn't been an issue of Battle Chasers for 25 years, pretty much. And I think it's 23. It's 22. But first of all, as a reader, I'm like, am I going to give a shit anymore? Really? Like, I was a huge Battle Chasers fan. Joe Mad is no longer the artist. It's 20-something years later. Who gives a shit? I felt right back into this world. I loved it. Plus, the J. Scott Campbell cover was really awesome. And I, as a retailer, was like, how do I order on this book?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it hasn't been published in like over 20 years. Some of my customers weren't alive when the last issue of this book came out. I sold out. And I ordered, I think, rather aggressively for that book. So that's cool. Superman number 5, we talked about it a little bit. God damn it, Josh Williamson, Jamal Campbell, well, they're killing it on this book. Silver Banshee and Jimmy Olsen. And really, you get this book, Josh. You really do. And I really fucking love it. The Vigil, number 2. We talked about that. Absolutely fantastic. World Tree, number 3. clarifying the story, cementing who the characters we should focus on are. If you go back right now and reread 1, 2, and 3, it's going to be a different experience. Plus, chicks like completely just naked, killing people. That's fucking awesome. Darth Vader, black, white, and red, number 3. Why? For like 8 or 10 pages. Daniel Warren Johnson finally doing a real licensed Star Wars book. That needs to be in everybody's collection. That needs to be in everybody's fucking collection. Local Man, number 5. What the fuck? Could have been a perfect ending, but instead it's a perfect launching point for something more. I absolutely love it. Red Room, Crypto Killers. Our good.
How are you going to take both? How are you going to take both of them?
The artwork in this book is the best I think Ed has done in this entire series. I talked to him about how sad I was about the book ending, but how excited I was for his daily strip and being fans of the channel, right? You get that he's been getting into the Charles Schultz, Peanuts, Dick Tracy, Prince Valiant. He's into this idea of the daily strip. When I talked to him about it, he was 20 strips in out of the 100 he wanted to do before he released. Now he's at like 27, 28. So dude is killing it, and he's killing it on Red Room. Plus, my cover of the month is the Jim Rugg Charles Burns tribute to Black Hole variant cover. So there you go. That's my rapid fire. Manny.
Boom. All right. Sweet. That took like half of my list, which is dope.
That's how I feel every month.
All right.
Yep.
So Gargoyles issue number 6. For this is a petty ass reason, but it's my reason. So I like Gargoyles issue number 6 because Disney, like, they kicked Greg Weisman off of Gargoyles in season 3, and that's why season 3 sucks really bad. The first episode of season 3 is Greg Weisman. So when you read the slave labor graphics Gargoyles books, it starts with the exact same. It's almost beat for beat, the exact same. The animation even looks identical. And then in this one, he's doing his version of Injustice for All, which was another, I think, stronger episode of season 3 of Gargoyles. But Greg elevates it and does it his own way, where instead of it's just Goliath trying to prove his innocence in a world where there's now like open racism. Pretty much there's a KKK in the Gargoyles world called the Quarrymen going against the Gargoyles, and he has to prove his innocence in a foiled bank robbery. In this one, he has to prove his sentience, and I think that's a cooler concept to explore. And Greg utilizes all of the Gargoyles really, really cool. Plus, Stagman gets a shout out, which was one of the London Gargoyles, which I really dug. So that one for that, just because fuck you, Disney. And then Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 3 was not good, except for the Groot stuff. I loved when Peter gets mind melded with the Groot that lands on that planet. The rest of it was stupid. They're like on a hunt, and it's like, oh yeah, Spartans are assholes. Yeah, I get that. That was stupid, but the Groot stuff was cool, and I really dug that. So that one's on there. Fucking Cullen Bunn's writing this book called Ghost Lore, and it's really fucking good, you guys. Like it really is. I'm really digging it. I love the idea of like this faithless preacher having to absolve these ghosts of their sins, and I like how like inventive the ghost stories are. So the father-daughter dynamic is interesting enough. And then but it's just a vehicle for these like monthly ghost stories, and this one's about this neurosurgeon who tries to remove like a tumor from a patient, but it's actually like this like monster, and it eats everybody, and it's super gory and cool, and I dig that. And I also love that in the first issue there was a lot of talking between the characters and a lot of exposition. In this one, like I think like the first like 6 pages there's like almost no dialogue. It's just them dealing with grief, and I think that when that rolls into the really gnarly shit in Ghost Lore, it gets really, really strong. Hairball. I liked everything until the last part. Like the idea of the orphan and the escalation in violence towards the cat, and then defeating the cat and moving on with their life. And there's like this time jump, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a good place to end it. And they were like, no, it's comics. We're gonna make 5 of these. And then they just like, oh, now the cat is a good guy. It's stupid. It was a dumb twist at the end, I thought, but it still looked cool. And the story itself was good up until that point. So I liked that.
Hey, somebody mentioned Matt Kent.
Shout out to Brainiac.
Take a shot.
Legacy of Violence, another fucking Cullen Bunn book.
Fun mark at this
that book
point.
ain't been out since like 8 months or something, man. It's like,
dude, it's gotten good. It's gotten good. It's like okay, well, because honestly, it's not helped by Moody's art. Like Andre Moody's art is awesome. But everything looks like fucking Bunny Mask. And if this book is weird and convoluted like Bunny Mask. And then there's the serial killer looks like Bedlam from fucking the Nick Spencer comic from years back. And that sucked. So it had a lot of things going against it, but it's finally coalesced into like a good serial killer cat and mouse. We know where the story is now. And it's moving along. So that one was good. There's more in here, but I'm sure you guys are going to talk about them. So I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, there's supposed to be books that you liked. Though.
I'm almost.
I do like books. In hell,
5 books you just shit on for the last.
In hell, no, I picked it. They didn't make the list. They didn't get like they weren't my.
Oh, the proper.
And he's like, I read 8 books,
dude. They were so.
5.
Well, no, like In Hell We Fight, I thought was cool.
That was a good book.
It didn't make the pick because like it took a little while to get into what it was, but it was good, right? I'm trying to be more selective about my picks because otherwise I'm just randomly grabbing shit.
I'm glad that Brian I'm pretty much glad Brian had to dip out because he would have mentioned that. So Penguin just like so Dark Horse just moved from Diamond to Penguin. Mm-hmm. And in the midst of that transition, somehow I forgot to order Hairball number 3. Mm-hmm. So we got 4 in, and I was like, wait a second. We never got 3. And then I looked, and I was like, I never ordered it. And so it was the first time this ever happened to me. And so like I was like really sensitive about that. And I don't know why I just put myself on blast. Nick.
It's crazy at the shops, guys.
Rapid fire. Yeah, when you switch distributors, I'm so nervous about this image switch to Lunar. I'm like, bro, when? What day? What time?
Exactly.
That's the nightmares that Robbie's having right now.
Those are my DC night terrors.
All right, rapid fire. Let's go. We have a Blaze Comics Traveling to Mars issue number 6. Another great issue, exploring, taking on responsibility, standing up for yourself. He's not alone in space. What is he going to do when he's face to face with people that are trying to take him out? It's a really, really great story. Amazing stuff. Check that one out for sure. I talked about this one. I think it was my pick of the month last month. Second Coming Trendy issue number 3. Another solid book. Ahoy Comics. Loving this one. Russell again on here. Really cool exploration of like another version of like Jesus's childhood, which is pretty cool, and how he maybe abused his powers early on, and he got some guidance and some good advice on how to actually go about the world and who he should really impact and really reach out to improve their lives. We talked about this a little bit already with Carnage, but we have Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number whatever this is 7, which is another great run. I think if you're into some Spider stuff and you're getting really bored of ASM and Spider-Man Peter Parker, jump on Miles, because this is a really great book, not only in the writing but like the art in here is absolutely crazy. But Vincent Taney, I think, is on the art in this. And what's crazy
is that's the weakest issue as far as art goes, and it still looks way better than most of the other stuff, right? Yeah, very cool. Wrapping up the whole Carnage stuff, and we get a really cool thing with Iron Man at the end of this book as well. So if you're into Spider books, check that one out. That was just 3. Let's do a couple more. Fun one. TMNT Usagi Yojimbo issue number 4. Awesome book. Stan Sakai, man, doing those wraparound covers. Kevin Eastman has a B cover as well. And the B cover is actually Eastman and Laird together. Well, like somebody pointed that out on my stream. Like that's the one that Laird did with them. And I was like, you're right, bro. He
inks it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Really good. Just that it's got like this weird wholesome vibe to it, but it's also mature at the same time. It's like it's safe for kids, but it has death in it, but it's cartoonish kind of death. It's a really interesting balance. So like I would say it's fine for kids, and it's aimed at adults as well.
Is that the one where they fall in the hole?
they fall into a portal, which is a hole sideways.
Yeah.
That blows.
See, it's okay here, but the Bone Orchard Mythos, you got shit to talk.
Bringing it back around to the hole, man.
It's all about. It's vertical holes that I have the problem with. Remember, because it's
bringing it full circle here.
That was 8 hours ago. When that was brought up.
It feels like it was fucking 8 hours. Okay. I don't know.
Have you gone back and gotten to check out any of the Fantagraphics Usagi stuff, Nick?
I collected some of the trades now. So I have a few of the trades. Yeah. And I have like 1 through 10 and floppies.
That's the best stuff. And then in the Dark Horse stuff.
Yeah, I got number 1.
Sagas. Those are like
right there.
Like the first stuff is like the most raw, like Stan Sakai's like a brilliant cartoonist. And then the Dark Horse stuff is like, dude, this guy's like building up this world, right? And like that's the prime shit right there. So like everybody needs to read Usagi, and this is a good place to jump in, but this is not the peak, right? But like this dude's been doing this shit for over 30 years.
Like that's it.
Writing,
he's killing it.
Drawing and fucking lettering. And he also letters, and he's an Eisner Award-winning letterer because his lettering is amazing. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So good. So
Stan
good.
Sakai, I've met him. He's great. It's cool. It's a cool guy.
Yep.
Anyway.
I think I'll stop there. That's my rapid fire this month.
Rapid fire.
Okay. Nightwing, most recent issue. The interesting perspective. I don't know if it's been done very much, but definitely really cool. Just mostly on the perspective. Just a basic story, but it's really the art that sings in this one. You know, the perspective thing.
What was it? I'm sorry, real quick, but Manny, was it you that was like, yeah, it was somebody said like, yeah, I like the idea, but like it's just a bunch of like fucking hands.
Yeah, hands that fucking the explosion. It's just orange and hands. Anyway,
rapid fire.
So I was not kind to Nightwing the last couple of weeks.
I love Catwoman. I will always love Catwoman. And Teenie Howard is actually writing Catwoman really well. I love that it has like a little noir circumstance to it. She's really trying to do some things and putting things together here that are really nice. Really great attention to detail. I cannot say the same at this time for her Harley Quinn run, but Catwoman really holding up for me.
Damn, shots fired.
Yeah, like I have like an expectation about Harley. I will say that from issue 1 to like each issue has been getting a little bit better, but like
can't go down much further than issue 1.
Oh my God, issue 1 was so bad.
It was awful.
But you know what? I've liked other stuff. That she's done. I've liked some of the elements to Harley Quinn. The whole college professor Harley. I love that element. That's actually something that I've said that I would want to do if I ever wrote Harley is put her in
court-ordered teaching positions.
Yeah, where she's teaching. I like that idea. But there's the fact that in any other place that, Harley loves Ivy, okay? She loves Poison Ivy, but she's never been in a position where she has just, I don't know what to do with myself with Poison Ivy being gone. Oh, what shall I do? No,
is Harley from Savannah, Georgia, all of a sudden? What's going on?
Well, it's just like I just don't know what to do with myself now that Poison Ivy's gone.
Is she Blanche from fucking Golden Girls? What's going on?
You know what? Maybe. Okay, but like, I can't. I don't. That's something I cannot. I don't like about that.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we're interrupting rapid fire. This is supposed to be quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't like that part about but Catwoman, Teenie Howard, fantastic.
All right.
Action Comics. Philip Kennedy Johnson here. Okay, so I've decided, though, side note, I am not getting the cover A anymore because Steve Beach, the way he draws Superman annoys me. Like here, in this particular circumstance, Superman, I believe, looks constipated. Like he's trying to push one out
Well, one thing that people don't realize is that the solar radiation from the Earth's yellow sun gives Superman certain powers, but it also constipates him.
It really slows his peristalsis.
And he's been pushing this one out for a while because,
like,
it looks
10
like
boxes of grape nuts a day. Like,
prune juice, whatever you want.
You have a little bit of like reddish tone, like, so he's been trying to push this one out for a while, and there, like, he broke a blood vessel or something, and like he's really trying there. But side note aside, okay. And plus, I also think there's been covers with Superman where he looks like DC Follies, like Ronald Reagan, DC Follies. Okay, if you know that reference, then
I understood the reference. I did.
Yeah. Okay. So, the creepiest looking puppets ever, and I mean creepier than like the Labyrinth. But
I got that one.
Okay, so like, seriously, you want nightmares? Check out, like, just Google it later.
Yeah, like Fred Willard's in it and shit. Like just it's.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, the conclusion to the Metello story here, where you have Metello's sister is now, like she says, a monster like you, and it's like you have to ask that question, like, would it have been better? Because she was dead, you know, and would it have been better for them to let her die rather than bring her back as kind of like a robot, like him? Like, which is better? Like
yeah, I get what y'all are saying. By the way, I just want y'all to know, if you can bring me back as a robot, bring me the fuck back. I want to know what happens in the next issue of Spawn. So
yes. Green Arrow, been a lot of fun.
Yes.
Okay. That since so the number one thing that stands out in this issue is not the Connor Hawk stuff or anything like that. It's the moment where Roy Harper and Peacemaker decide that they're going to decide a fight.
Yeah, who does
by who can hit the target. And Roy Harper's like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in." And he hits the target. So like so he gets to ask questions of the prisoner that they're trying to get questions from. Batman Incorporated, I'm so glad I got into this book. Who would have thought? Joker Incorporated. Like, wow. And you have this ultimate, like, just like the conundrum. Like, do you stay true to the promise you made to somebody, or the fierce urgency of now? Do you go for that? And that's exactly what this Ghostmaker and the rest of Batman Inc. are facing, and you see it when somebody questions the whole situation. When somebody questions it, basically one of their members gets killed. I mean, they haven't confirmed it, but yeah, one of the members gets killed, and which is going to be a really awkward conversation if Jason Todd ever finds out. Let's see here. Two more here, and I'm like tossing things around. Bloodline, not necessarily the greatest book in the world, but if you're looking for a way to get a teenage girl that likes vampires into comics, right here. This is something that I would say that if Marvel wanted to really get into that whole thing that DC has done in doing YA graphic novels like DC has, Bloodline, do it.
Yep.
And the last one, just because I thought the concept was fun, this one, a Death Drop Drag Assassin. You have a drag queen that's a former assassin that has to pick up the gun again. So right here.
There you go.
I liked it a lot, actually. Death Drop Assassin. So, all right. Thank you all so much for joining us. Y'all need to check out all of these fine people here on the panel. Links in the description below. Manny, final thoughts.
Boom. Thank you again so much for having me on. This is my favorite show to do. Absolutely love it. I'm Island Boy Manuel. It's here. I do stuff on YouTube. Don't watch it. Watch Nick, watch Robbie, watch Carrie. But more importantly, check out anything that you can that has my boy Missing Link in it. He's definitely the Renaissance Man MVP of the PCP Army. Bad Batch. Dude is just everywhere. And he's so fucking good. Like, you and Nick watch this cartoon Kefava Baby thing, and you guys seem to be super into that. My super into it is anytime Link is talking to Eric the Stash or Brandon. Those guys talk about comics like it's fucking awe-inspiring. Like, I learned so much from them, and he's got me on this journey right now where I'm reading Green Lantern Rebirth and scripting a very ambitious script that I'm not gonna be able to shoot, but I'm working on it, and it's so fucking good. Like, and Carrie, that's why Superman holds in his shits, because a few years ago he shat, and that evil shat that he shat out fucking drew Green Lantern Rebirth, and it was so fucking gorgeous, but it was the most evil piece of shit ever. So Superman is protecting us from that. Now when he shits, he has to bend over, hold his ankles, and shoot them into space out of fear that he's gonna drop another EVS on us. Fucking Superman is a saint for this. But anyway, that being said, that guy has never ever steered me wrong when it came to a comic book. Y'all need to be following Link. Read his reviews on Instagram. They're fucking phenomenal. And
the only thing you can't trust Missing Link on, Steph, our good buddy Stephanopoulos, the only thing that you cannot trust him on is his thoughts on character studies of serial killers in movies, in horror cinema. It's the only thing you can't trust him on. Things like Henry, A Portrait of a Serial Killer, things like Exorcist 3, things like Martin. It's the only thing you can't trust him on. But other than that, no offense, Nick or Manny, but sexiest member of the excitable PCP crew. Trust.
Absolutely.
There's no denying.
If he was on OnlyFans, Nick, you're in trouble.
I'm trying to corner that market before he gets wise and starts doing some like review shit on there. Yeah.
Nick, final thoughts. Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, dude, thanks for having me. Really, really appreciate it. Nick, Comic Culture do review shows very much like this, Nick at Night, on Saturday nights. I filmed one right before the show, so it'll be out this Saturday night. Do hauls, do things like that too. Also doing a series I'm pretty proud of for Key Comic Flip Through. So books like that on the wall, I actually flip through them, top-down approach, breaking them all down, going over the key elements of them so we can get more familiar with all these key books that everyone likes to collect and we might not read because we're scared of opening those pages. They're meant to be read. Let's read them. Let's enjoy them. Let's know more about them. And you can also catch me on Blame Fable, Amazing Friends. We try to do that on Saturdays. Carrie was on there recently.
Yeah, except for when Carrie's on.
Except for when Carrie's on, then I have to bounce. And then we have awesome guys like Steph and everybody picking up the slack and stepping in for me. I wanted to share the love. And so we definitely did that. So check them out on Instagram and also on One Collection Down on YouTube as well. But thanks again, man. Appreciate you having me.
Nick, you're like an hour and a half away from me, man. I need to make the trek up there and do one of those. Let's talk about one of these comics. Let's fucking do it. Let's kayfabe it. Let's
absolutely.
Let's cartoon Copropolis this shit, man.
We'll bring our copies of Sin City and we'll do a gallery edition versus whatever. That's
I got the new trades, but yeah.
First issue of the comic book artist Morbius. The living vampire.
The Morbius comics. I gotta look up this Morbius guy. He's pretty abstract.
It's Morbin time. By the way, that Craven trailer looks stupid as shit. I'm sorry. I had people be like mad at me. Like, what's the difference between Spider-Man getting bit by a spider and Craven getting blood from a lion? That was a radioactive spider. Is this a radioactive lion? I don't fucking know.
This was like Mufasa, apparently.
Sounds like some goddamn fucking Charlie Sheen tiger blood shit. I don't fucking know, man.
The problem with that I have with that is I don't know much about Craven. But
Craven's just a dude. He hunts well.
Yeah. So, but the thing is the problem I have with that is I'm under the understanding that he's a villain.
He is.
But he's
Doesn't
an
look like it.
anti-hero.
Villains aren't born; they're made. Carrie, thank you for being here. Final thoughts? Is it about Craven? Your final thoughts?
No.
What do you want to do?
Absolutely not. Yeah, so I'm the officially unofficial geek, and you can find me here on YouTube, and we do all kinds of things. I do a Wednesday show with my boyfriend, Bizarro Fett Joe, and I do a Spoiler-tastic weekly comic review if I can get around to it. And I've started doing this series called Carrie Reads. So it's either I'm reading something from the Golden Age, Silver Age, or Bronze Age. And I've been doing that lately. I just started a thing where I'm doing, for right now, I don't know how long it's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna be every day, but I am doing tarot card of the day. So I'm getting back into reading my tarot, and it's Nightmare Before Christmas tarot cards. So yeah, so that's hopefully going to be fun. But yeah, I'm here doing the pop culture thing. I think Joe and I are going to do a little series based off the AFI top 100 movies of all time. And we're not going to do all 100, okay? But we're gonna pick a movie each from each set of 10 in the list and talk about them on the Wednesday show.
Hell yeah, that sounds super fun, super cool. Actually,
Sweet.
It's a great idea. All right, here on PCP and our extended family, be sure to join Dylan Soar's show Saturday night when they talk about Jaws. Very timely because Jaws takes place 4th of July weekend, back in the day or whatnot. So that's really cool. So join them for that. Rockin Robbie Live will be live Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have a good, fun time. And we're off of PCP movie night for this year, but or for this week, but we do return July 10th for the debut of Action Fest 2023. I believe Manny's going to be present for this show. We're going to be talking about all 5 Indiana Jones films.
Yeah.
What?
That's right. There's going to be 5 because there's a 5th one out right now. And I'm not watching it because I'm here because honestly, I'd rather be here than watching another Indiana Jones movie. However, I just watched Raiders the other day. So I'm excited for this conversation, Manny. I hope you are too.
I am
too. Hell yeah. Thank you all for joining us. We are dipping out on behalf of everybody here at Pop Culture Philosophers and the extended family and the Army and the excitable PCP crew. Station Pop Pop.